Defining Duke is brought to you by Theragun. A lot of you may be familiar with this story, but I talked a lot in 2020 about how I had bad right elbow issues. If it was bent a funny way, such as when I was doing video editing, it would start to tingle and it would make my day-to-day work nearly impossible to accomplish. And it wasn't until I brought Theragun into my life and started to get that deep muscle tissue relief that it started to turn around, and that issue is now a thing of the past. So Theragun literally changed my life, and I'm very excited about this one. It's a handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power. The Gen 4 Theragun doesn't just feel good though. It gets to the source of the pain like it did with me by releasing tension using that percussive therapy. So try the Theragun for 30 days starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/Duke right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/Duke, therabody.com/Duke. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 48 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by Mad Max himself, Lord Cognito.
Yo, it's match time. Let's go. Let's go, Matty. So to talk about. Like, real quick, I know it's sidebar. We're best fan. This is the part of the season where we get excited.
Yeah, this is our World Series.
This is our World Series right now. Let us live. Shout out to Steve Cohen. He's out here spending money, big market team. You get excited. As Met fans, that's all I always wanted, brother. That's it.
Absolutely.
We had owners that didn't like to spend, and now we spend it. So I'm about this.
Yeah. And we're watching the Yankees not spend, which is just as nice. I love it, man. I love it. I love watching them squirm. It's been so wonderful.
It's been so long.
Surrounded by Yankee fans.
Yes.
Again, everyone they want. I'm sitting there just arms full of like, man, Jose Reyes. Like,
you remember that? Jose Reyes, David Reyes. Bro, we used to, the joke was the Wilpons, they used to call him the coupon. Because they didn't spend. Bro, we were the big market team that shopped at Walmart. Like, no one is buying. But yeah, it feels good. I like Steve Cohen. I'm on his Twitter. He's feisty. When the team don't do good, he be on them.
I love him.
Yeah, salute.
Absolutely. And salute to gamers this week, because we have ourselves a really exciting episode of Defining Duke. Next week is, of course, the Game Awards, so we're going to have predictions on, of course, award winners, but I think more relevant to all of you, reveals, announcements, and then we'll be talking about that the following week. Also, just wanted to prime people that Halo reviews will be going live next week, but by the time that time's out, our episode will have already been live, so if you're looking for Halo thoughts, we'll be doing that the following episode. So just keep an eye out for all of that. Just wanted to make sure everyone was aware. Other than that, a little bit of housekeeping. Defining Duke Ultimate episode 44 is live now. It's going to the big screen, right? I love that name. But we saw a good opportunity with the plethora of new divisions in film that are being revealed, like Kojima Productions opening up their own, to Mass Effect doing their own TV series, that we should talk about how games and TV and anime are all drawing a lot closer and how they will continue to, and whether it's good for the business, why it's happening right now. Really in-depth conversation that we sort of pulled out of our ass last minute. So we're happy it's worked out really well.
No, that was a good one. I really enjoyed it. Like, again, seeing the trends in the industry. And we got to shout out Duke Dustin, right? He killing it with these thumbnails. I ain't going to front. That thumbnail was fire. I mean, we in the theaters,
That was a good one.
Salute them.
Absolutely. Loved it. As always, early access for these episodes go live on Thursdays over at patreon.com/laststandmedia. We're about 12,000 of you support us, so thank you for that and putting food on the table. We hope you continue to sign up there. Listen to this show nice and early. If not, free episodes are live on Sundays. We appreciate you as well. Let's talk with the audience. Let's get some before we begins in. Starting off with Josh Rock Stark. Wonder if he's ever been called Josh Rockstar. Kind of wonder. What's good, N7 Commander Cog and Ultra Instinct Matty? I was listening to the last episode in my car ride home from work and really felt what you guys were saying about Activision. Hearing you guys break it down, I could feel myself getting hot under the collar. No road rage, I promise. My two favorite franchises, Crash and Spyro, are owned by this egregious company, and it just sucks. I'm in this state of limbo, not knowing how to enjoy the devs' creations without benefiting all the bad actors in this ongoing situation. It just perpetually keeps getting worse, and the top brass are fortifying themselves instead of surrendering to make a change. When the tough conversations need to be had, thank you both for having them. Thank you both for not shying away from them and handling them with tact. Have a Mexican food without the margaritas kind of day. And have a good show. That's attention to detail. That's a good one.
Yes.
I picked this one, of course, because it made me really happy to see that, we're not usually leaping on this stuff right as it breaks, because I believe really strongly in letting these stories develop, especially ones that are this touchy, because we can make a lot of hot takes real quick and you want to hear the full story. And I feel like we got to that point last week where things were going to slow down. There wasn't going to be the next chapter. I think we were right on that. And so I just wanted to thank Josh and anyone who else maybe felt that way. Because that's how I like to run the show. And I know maybe it's not the most business sense. It's not the best business sense, because I know people want the hot breaking news. But I just think with touchy subjects, it's, let's lead by example and handle them with tact, as Josh so kindly put it.
Yeah, well said, brother. And I love your approach with it, because it's funny. That's kind of the same way I actually operate in real life. I don't like to jump out the window as soon as this, the real sizzling title. Trust me, I'm tempted. Some people ask me my opinions on the spot. A lot of times I'll say I need more information.
Absolutely. And I just thought it was a good window to talk a little bit about how Bobby Kotick, when we last spoke, said that I'll leave if I can't change things. And we look at these franchises that have sort of been folded into Activision, and they're now just working on Call of Duty. It's looking more and more like, for real change to happen, he's just got to go.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, if we holding people to their word, right? According to what they said, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel what Josh is saying also in reference being in that tough spot when it's like you really love these franchises, but then you really can't stand the company, the higher-ups. You want to support the debt. It's just a tough situation, but maybe true change cannot happen until leadership at the top is actually changed.
Absolutely, because I think when this first began, it was a little bit more. I even said on ham radio with Dustin, we were both like, you can still buy Activision games. Like, you're supporting hardworking people. I think you still are, but I think now is a better cause to maybe slow that down, because you're seeing there's a lot of bad actors involved. But it's really, I think, up to the consumer. I wouldn't hold anyone if they bought Diablo 2. I wouldn't be like, hey, what the fuck, man?
Exactly.
But I do understand why at this point people will boycott purchasing stuff from them.
Absolutely. Personal decision, I understand.
Cody Myers is our next before we begin. Hello, boys. First time right in here. Just wanted to add my 2 cents to the whole, have you ever gotten into a fight because of a video games discussion from last week that I thought you might appreciate? I don't know how much it counts because it was my brother, but we were once playing PS3 and we were getting really heated. At one point, he fake swung on me and I naturally flinched. He kind of smirked thinking he got me good. Me being the older brother, I obviously couldn't let that slide. So there's a little bit of pride here.
Yep.
I said, but why pull the punch? And sucker punched him right in the face, controller in hand. We both dropped our controllers and a full brawl ensued that ended with black eyes and our gaming privileges revoked for a while. It sounds like the understandable behavior of young boys, but we were actually teenagers that had no business acting a fool like that. Anyways, keep up the good work and have a lemon juice on your paper cut kind of day. Ooh, stings. So we got a lot of people in the audience who have thrown hands over video games, it looks like.
That's a thing. Like, people don't realize that's the unspoken part of gaming that people don't want to talk about. But we here at the Dukes, we talking about it, man. Yeah. Shout out. Listen, I gotta respect that your little brother had you in your feelings because you flinched. And I know about that because, like, that's the thing. Like, if you flinch, it shows weakness. So you don't want to show that. And I respected your ego got the best of you, right?
He kept the hierarchy in line, right? He was I'm above.
Exactly. Bro, he it was off principle. He had to exert that, you the little brother, you're not supposed to do that to me.
I like how he remembers he didn't drop the controller. Like, he held the PS controller in hand and, like, brass knuckle punched him. Like, okay, man. Imagine he had the Duke in his hand.
Yo.
That's assault at that point, right?
That's assault. Yeah, he going to jail. Going to jail. That's a great story. I actually love that one, man. But it's real, man. Like, it goes down. It goes down, especially younger, and then brothers, especially, man. Brothers. I'm not, I'm only child, but I do understand that part.
Absolutely. Just a couple of other little news bits I wanted to touch on before we start this bad boy up. First one has to do with the last night. This is a game that was revealed on Xbox's E3 stage. I want to say about 2-3 years ago now. and it's seemingly being teased for a Game Awards reveal. Tim Saray published this video on his Twitter account without any comments and then deleted it. And it was just a little shot of the last night. It says, wake up, demos, settings, leave. Again, it was promptly deleted. The last night is this very flashy 2D cyberpunk pixel art game that looked, it captured me so easily. It looked really good. And I'm hoping that this does get a re-reveal because this game looked great, and I'm happy to see it probably finally coming out the door now.
Yeah, no, it did. That's the one that caught my eye too. I love that pixel art style. I love, even with the some of the issues we had, I always loved that cyberpunk aesthetic. You know what I mean? In environment. Now it's isometric, so now side scrolling. I got my eye on it. So maybe they jumped the gun a little early.
Yeah, I think Xbox did in general, because there were some leaks online that were Game Award demos. They were labeled like TGA 2021 demo, and then it would be like these indie games through the ID at Xbox program. So I'm thinking that this will be one of them, especially given that this title screen that they've posted has demos in the footage that has been reposted. So expect some more from Xbox, especially at the Game Awards. We'll talk about that soon. I just want to shout out Weird West. This is a cool looking action RPG coming from the mind of Rafael Colantonio. He's best known for his work on Prey, I would say. He worked at Arcane for an extensive period of time before leaving and doing his own thing. And Weird West arrives January 11th on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Just thought it was a cool looking game. They mentioned about 40 hours of content branching across 5 different storylines already. So looks like this is a meaty single player game that has a fantasy crossover with Western vibe that some people might find cool. So go ahead, check that out. It's not coming out too far from now.
No doubt.
Another little note here, Game Pass Ultimate subs will get monthly Halo Infinite multiplayer bonuses like we had talked about on this show that was going to happen. There's the first bundle coming December 8th, so the launch day of Halo Infinite next week. It's the Past Tense MA40 AR bundle. So you're going to get 4 2x XP boosts, 4 challenge swaps, and the Past Tense assault rifle skin, which is green based off Game Pass. So not bad.
Not bad. Just not a fan of,
I've seen better.
And plus I'm just not a fan of the colors being locked to only a specific gun, right?
A little strange.
Can I have the green across the board? But we go nickel and dime every single. They got like 12 weapons. You know how it go. That's my only beef, but I see what y'all doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Free to play, man.
Yeah,
we warned them. We warned them.
It is what it is.
Lastly, then we'll talk about what we're playing here. Respawn is discontinuing the sales of the original Titanfall, but the game servers are not being shut down. So the original Titanfall launched exclusively for Xbox One and PC March 11th, 2014. Fantastic game. I hate to admit it, I played the first Titanfall way more than the second one.
Me too.
Yeah, man, I was glued to the first Titanfall, but the second one I never really jumped into that deeply, so I need to.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. I mean, I will say this. The Titanfall 2 campaign is one of the best campaigns in a long time.
So I've heard. I just need to get to it. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, BT. Shout out to all the people that know the BT reference. It's phenomenal. I was just talking with someone about we talk about who got the better grab look. I mean, regardless how you feel, Titanfall 2 definitely revolutionized and did a lot of things. That was amazing. This is a pretty sad story. If I could jump in now with this whole thing.
Go for it.
Because from what I understand, like these hackers really got a hold of this game and trying to get source code. And what's weird is the motivation, from my understanding, of the hacker was like, I'm hacking so you could fix it. And then I guess there was a Titanfall online rumor, and I want to make you guys do this. It's a pretty ugly situation. It was so bad. Let me tell you how bad it was. It was so bad that this exploit was that Respawn, and I believe a couple people themselves, made the announcement to uninstall it if you had the game still on your hard drive, because it was literally like a backdoor in. And I've never seen that on any game. I was like, damn, I got to uninstall my beloved. I was like, console 2? I thought it was just a PC thing. They were like, console 2. That broke my heart, man. So, we see the announcement. I think this is, in my opinion, kind of a retaliatory kind of defense thing to protect themselves. And I just hope that we do get a Titanfall 3. This series is one of my favorite series. To be honest, that was literally one of the core reasons. Xbox One didn't have a great generation, but I remember that game, and I had the custom stuff. I had the Turtle Beach, at statue. Yeah, man. So that was one for me. This one hurts. It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. It was one of those touchstones for Xbox One where it had very few. For me, it's really this game and Sunset Overdrive are the two that I always go back to in my head and say, like, those are the ones. We talk about Rise, of course. That was a launch game. Fantastic.
Of course.
But there were very few, and it sucks to see this because for those listening, it's sales end today. Can't buy it today. And it's in Game Pass, but it will be removed from that and other subscription services March 1st, 2022. So get your physical copies. Yeah, I should check. Let me just peruse eBay real quick. I'm curious how if we're getting a 50-cent blood in the sand treatment here.
Oh yeah, check the market, see if the price went up.
I'm really
yesterday's price is not today's price.
Okay, Titanfall 2 is going brand new for $5 free shipping.
You know what?
That's insane.
I never got the I gotta see the
prices haven't gone up yet. I don't think anyone's caught one to this.
Yeah, this would be a if y'all gotta people who Patreon listeners are listening to what is it on December 1st? Y'all better jump on now because by Sunday, free 99 listeners, the price might have gone up on y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is I was talking to my girlfriend about how the pandemic really changed how I purchase objects because the supply chains are so constrained that I've become more impulsive. Where it's like, I don't know if this is going to spike in value immensely. I'm going to do it now because even common items have become this rarity, it feels like, and the prices go up and scalpers have been running rampant. So this is like one of those examples where it's $5, screw it. But like I was at the comic shop the other day. I've been reading this series called Descenders. I don't mean to go off track here, but it's just, I think, relevant.
Oh, I like Descenders, the bike one, right? Yeah.
No, Descenders is
comic book. No, I'm talking about the game. You're talking the game. You're talking about the comic.
A bike book.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I've been reading this comic series, Descenders, and I read the first volume. I was like, this is fire. Like, it's sci-fi, really cool. So I go to comic shop, and they got the whole series there, like volumes 1 through 6. I look it up. Yep, there's 6 volumes. I'm like, I'll get them all. I don't know if like they're gonna go away one day. It cost me $80. Like, not that bad, but in my head, when I walked away, I'm like, couldn't I have just got like 2 and 3? Like, did I have to get 2 through 6 here? Did I have to? I'm happy to have them. I'm going to read them all, so it doesn't make a difference, but that's how things have changed. So, yeah.
You're right. And it's one of those things because of the scalpers and the pandemic. And, sometimes if you don't pull the trigger, you regret it. And you're like, damn, I can't have it. It was literally in my car. I was right in front of it. I could have did it. And I've had that situation happen. So I understood why you did it. Like, it makes sense.
Absolutely. So that's all we got before we're beginning. Let's talk about what games we're playing here, Cog. I see you've been playing an interesting spread here.
Yeah,
quite the charcuterie you've served us. Yeah,
I've been so I made a business decision.
Okay.
Pretty much, Halo Infinite. Obviously, we have access to it, but Cog said, you know what? I gotta be the big man. Let the team do what the team does.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LawsandGamer.net. I fell back. I was very tempted to do, because obviously we have a campaign, do what we got to do with the campaign. But I've still been playing multiplayer. You know what I'm saying? I got my armors, all that stuff knocked out. And then Guardians, I took it back. I thought I was gonna wait because I've just been so busy. And I said, you know what? I'm having too much fun right now.
Okay.
And I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to power through, and whatever happens. If I make it on time, because obviously we have some plans for that. And, if I definitely want to be a part. I always feel like there are touch spot tone moments in gaming where you kind of want to be a part of the conversation.
Okay.
And I feel like this is one of them so far. And I want to see where this lands. And then obviously tell me why. I'll tell you why later.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
What about you, man?
So mine isn't much different from last week. Halo Infinite, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I've just been, comfortably cruising through these games, just because there's been a lot of Halo lately, and I told everyone, I was like, I think I found my home base game. Like, yeah, Halo's Infinite's got some problems, but like, I think this is it. So, with all of the games that I needed to play for my reviews done this year, it's like I'm actually able to stop hopping around games and just focus. So I apologize to the audience because it may not be as interesting to listen to. But yeah, I'm 30 hours into SMT5.
Nice.
Really enjoying it. It's the biggest surprise to me was this, the fact that it was open world. Again, like I said this last week, but you know, it's just got good exploration, which I when I played SMT4 over the summer, did not expect this at all. You know, it's a very much JRPG, the JRPG. You know, you got your stat weaknesses, you got gods versus men. Like it's just very familiar in its tone and its delivery of everything it's writing. With an SMT5, like walks this very careful line and kind of goes on both sides of the fence. Like it's post-apocalyptic, but it's very JRPG, fantasy-like. It's strange, but it's got a good style to it, which I don't care what anyone says. They absolutely took a page out of Persona's book. It's a lot more flashy now. But there are things now as a huge Persona 5 Royal fan and Persona fan in general that I'm looking at for Persona 6. And I'm like, I hope they take a lot of pages out of this book here. Again, the open environments I think would be great for Persona. Persona is known for their carefully crafted dungeons, which I think is a serious strength because JRPG dungeons typically suck. But I think that this game's openness and like 3D platforming it does on top of excellent turn-based combat is a really unique blending that I'd like to see Persona do. Like Persona is a lot of contextual interaction. So you'll press X and you'll like zip up this line.
Right.
It's oh, I want to jump on this box and then climb up that wall there. Like that's how I want to get up there now. So I'm hoping that they take those types of cues from SMT5. Otherwise, this game will kick you in the balls more times than you can count. It is a notoriously difficult series. I am playing on casual. No shame in that. I beat SMT4 on normal. Actually, I'm sorry. I caved and changed it later in the game because that last dungeon is horrible. But SMT5, I was like, I know what I'm getting into. And this game just, it trolls you, man. Like there are times that you'll get ambushed. The enemy will walk up to you and be like, so I've got you cornered. You can pay me and I'll back up. And
Stop.
So one time I'm like,
Shakedown?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll shake you down, right? And so one time, low on health, low on mana. I'm like, oh no. I give him some money, right? And this man goes, more. I want more.
Yo!
You see, I'm like dumping the whole wallet out to get out of this
fight. You can get extorted? This is crazy.
Yeah, right? So, and this game will like take your money. Money is really important for a number of reasons. Fusing new demons and whatnot. Buying items to stay alive.
Yeah.
So there's a great economy to this game. But then like the enemy will go first if you're like, nah, you know, I'm not paying you. And they'll just beat the life out of you.
You get to set it off.
Yeah, and so you'll start off with like 40 HP for everyone. You're like, yo, I'm fighting on my last limbs here. And it hasn't even started. Yeah, this game will kick you when you're down. Without a shadow.
I can't be listening to you because you be getting me hyped with these games. And then
this is not for the faint of heart.
I'm trying to like, because I know about it. And it's just like, I'll get to it. That's later. And it's like, damn, Patty got me hyped. Like, I love that part right there. I'm all about it. The enemies sitting there trying to get their extortion or grab you up like, yo, you gonna pay your time.
Yeah, dude, the negotiations in this game are great because you got to know like a demon's personality. And they'll talk to you and they'll be like, how much do you want to live right now? Or do you care? How much do you care about dying? Because you'll talk to them to try to get them to join your party.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to them and interrogate them. And they're like, how much do you care about living right now? And I'm like, I'm going to be fearless. I don't care at all. Like, you ain't going to do shit. And they're like, good. I won't feel bad if I kill you then. And the combat starts. Yeah. So the interrogations are great in this game, right? They're very interactive. Like, everyone's got their own sound bites. So it gives them more personality than the old entries I played. So yeah, it's really good. And the reason I'm really trying to crank through this is because in my head, I'm like, this might be a game of the year thing. And I can tell you right now, because every content creator has been there. Every journalist has been there. Everyone's got that like one game that you slept on, that you played late. And you're like, this fucking game would have been in my top 5 if I just gave it the time. So I'm giving this the time because it's like the last one of the year for me that I need to just check off, make sure like from start to finish, I really like this.
Same.
And right now it's in that conversation for me at top 5. I want to finish it out though. And I'm sure no one is surprised that a fucking Atlas game is topping my list. But
listen, I ain't mad at you. And I love the mentality because that's where I'm at with Guardians. I'm like, I need to play this. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So that's what I'm playing. That's what Cog's playing. Defining Duke is brought to you by Theragun. A lot of you may be familiar with this story, but I talked a lot in 2020 about how I had bad right elbow issues. If it was bent a funny way, such as when I was doing video editing, it would start to tingle and it would make my day-to-day work nearly impossible to accomplish. And it wasn't until I brought Theragun into my life and started to get that deep muscle tissue relief that it started to turn around, and that issue is now a thing of the past. So Theragun literally changed my life, and I'm very excited about this one. It's a handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated perfect combo of depth, speed, and power. The Gen 4 Theragun doesn't just feel good though, it gets to the source of the pain like it did with me by releasing tension using that percussive therapy. Whether you want to treat your muscle tension from working out and injury or just the stresses of everyday life, something I did, you can literally use the Theragun for that. There's an OLED screen and design that makes it feel like you're holding something from the future, so it's pretty high-tech stuff. And the Theragun is trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid, up to even hockey. So try the Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/Duke right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/Duke, therabody.com/Duke. And now we want to speak with you with some of our warm-up questions, starting off with Daniel Wingy. Yes, brothers, thank you so much for some of the most educated, informed Xbox content out there. You two are the perfect complement to each other. My question is, what are your thoughts on the whole achievements prove you're a gamer debate? Generally, I don't agree with it. However, I do feel those in respective positions, like big podcasters, community heads, etc., should at least play a fair amount of Xbox. What do you think? And are you willing to reveal your achievement scores? Have a brand new console bricking type of week. What do you feel about this? You prove your gamer cred, eh?
Yeah, the raging debate. I see everybody. I see videos, dudes. I saw a video someone trying to put me in it. I was like, oh wow, this is
really.
Yeah, I saw what someone told me like, yo, we put you in the video. Really? Nah,
Really?
man. Like I'm fully transparent with this stuff. Like for me, you know, I feel like it's two part. There's a part of me that's like, okay, if you're a gamer, you claim you love the ecosystem, you know, then yeah, there's a pride that comes with it, right? For me, how I take it with the games I truly love, I co-sign that I'm like, yo, you know, the Tekkens, Destinies, XComs, all my favorite type of stuff. I do feel like a pride, like I need to, you know, get the 1,000 achievements. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because these are my, and also I do feel like it's paying it forward to the developer that I love in a way. However, right, I want to be clear though, there are people, and I'm part of this as well, that there's certain games that you just love and they're not going to give you a lot of credit because you kind of live in that game. And if those are your favorite game, like for example, if there's a Fortnite player, that's all he plays and that's his baby, that's his whole community, his whole thing is that, then I can't look at him and be like, yo, your rest of your gamer score, you know, this disqualifies you. You are not allowed to talk. And we gotta be careful with that too. And then there's so many other circumstances with people in game playing and their habits and stuff like that sometimes are not reflected in the score. So my only problem I struggle with is when people are literally going through every single line and then they're trying to discredit someone and be disrespectful that you're not a gamer because let's be honest, being a gamer is subjective on some levels. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, where I agree with the achievement police, this is the part I agree with them. Now, everything else, that foolishness and calling people out, being this, I'm not with that. But the part I do agree with, I kind of feel a way if someone hides it. Because it's like, what is there to hide? Like, why don't you don't want that? And that to me is a little weird. Again, it's just my opinion. But I'm curious about you because I don't think we've had this discussion.
No, we haven't. Because when I read the first half, I was thinking like, is this going to be an achievement conversation on like what they can do compared to PlayStation? So I thought it was a really interesting angle. If you go to my PlayStation profile, my trophies are privated because companies have specifically asked when you're reviewing games to private them. That's why mine are. A lot of people want to check out my trophies, but what happens is, I don't want to be disrespectful to the audience at all, but what I mean when I say this is I personally don't need to go in and out of my privacy settings because I don't want to be the reason a game leaks. Like, unless I choose to share information.
That's real.
My gamer score stuff is public. There are people plenty of our audience who follows me on Xbox. Like, I had someone tweet at me saying like, yo, you going to post that clip of you and the Wasp? Because I did like this sick grapple jacket. Fresh clip. And it's just interesting. Like, people can just see that stuff, and I didn't even know. I was like, what the okay? I was like, okay. But yeah, like it was interesting to see. So I try to make my stuff as accessible as possible, but I also don't want to be, again, the reason games leak, that people get a story spoiled for them.
I didn't even know that. I'm glad you said that because that helps me understand. I never knew companies be like, yo, don't, because this would, and it makes sense on a level because there's times where the achievement would directly spoil. I mean, a plot point or
even
a
if it's
trophy.
vague, you can connect the dots just by looking at
And you
trailers.
get games early. It makes sense. I didn't even think about
but
that. Yeah.
I strongly agree with Daniel on the
Mhm.
idea of if you're in a respected position,
Mhm.
you should be playing a fair amount of games. I know he says
yeah.
you should be playing a fair amount of Xbox. And I think that too is fair if you're in as a community head, which I've moved over a little bit more, right? Like I play Xbox most this gen for sure. Last gen I did not. I'm very open about that as well.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if you're in a position, you should be playing games. We actually had a conversation on Sacred Symbols Plus. I don't know if it'll be live by this point in time that people are hearing this, but me and Colin sat down to talk about the Game Awards and making a better award show. And we were going through the nominations, and I was saying that a lot of these games are sort of the product of a very specific type of game that's being made for a specific group of people that want a very specific thing, which are these like 10-hour games, right?
Like, I've been a part of this.
I know. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think about it. Absolutely.
I should have got the call.
Look, there's plenty of room for another conversation when this is all done with, right?
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
So I think we could do something like that, right?
Yeah, we gotta get Cobra Commander on Dukes too. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Absolutely.
Back.
Actually, that reminds me to say that a lot of people wrote in for this week's episode about Colin's slander of Dragon Age Origins, and he was popping off on BioWare and stuff, and I was like listening to it, and a lot of it I didn't disagree with, and I disagree with Dragon Age Origins, but I was like, you know what, this would be a great episode of DDU, so I sent the email, and we'll see what happens on that one. Knowing Colin, he will be there. It's just a matter of
he gonna pull up. That man is not afraid to no smoke. Cobra Commander will be there when his name is called.
Absolutely. But you know what I was saying is I feel like, when you're a community leader, you should be playing a lot of games. And when you look at the Game Awards, there's a very specific type of game being played where I understand why people are, I know it's very toxic, but I understand why people are sort of pulling up like, how much games you playing?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you're leading the charge here. You're leading my industry. Like how much games are you playing? It's why one of my biggest priorities, and it sounds stupid, but one of my biggest priorities with my work, if you will, I want to play games almost every day of the week. Not because I feel like I have to. I want to, fortunately. But I feel like when you stop playing is when you stop doing a good job, because that's a part of it. You got to be connected to what's going on here. And it sounds obvious, but a lot of the press and content creators have fallen out of that. They just try to make what they need to make and then just go live their lives. And I'm like, that's not fun. Like I couldn't do that at all. So
I feel you should be playing. And I will say this, just side note, I love since joining Last Stand Media, it's even challenged me to even try even more, right? Because I feel like I play a diverse a lot, but then there's games and I'm like, you know what? That was cool. I did this, 12 minutes with Ben, Soil Cat. This is cool. We got the Final Fantasy VII integrate with Hogue and those guys. So it's like, I always like to open, especially when things receive critical praise from people I respect, then I feel I need to be a part of that conversation and at least find out what's going on,
Right on. Yeah. Number 2 comes from Poot. Hey, Dukes, let's get straight to the point. When does Xbox dump the redheaded stepchild that is Xbox Live Gold? Simply put, the monthly drop-off, what they call games, is embarrassing. And given the increasingly robust Game Pass, is becoming more an obsolete punchline than an actual perk. At what point does Papa Phil take that horrible mongrel out back and does what needs doing? Thanks, and have a need help from Crystal Dynamics kind of day. P.S. Go Braves 2021. World Series champs. The Mets can buy players, but they can't buy championships, much less. It's interesting.
All right, he popping off. Shout out to Poop. We can't really say nothing right now because they got the chip. As Met fans, you are our arch rivals. We don't like you, but we like you support for the defining.
Yeah,
but we coming. That's all I'm going to say. We're coming. Hold on to that. I respect it.
All I'm going to say is the Braves are the Montreal Canadiens of baseball. They will be bad within a couple of years. All right, it's just that simple. They'll be bad in a couple of years. I would not be surprised if they'd be bad next year. They had that magic last season. You're telling me like when they traded for all those fucking no names like Rosario and Soler, you're telling me like that was you guys thought you were going to a World Series? Come on, let's be real. I'm not trying to take away. They did what I wanted the Mets to do. Just get players in. They were like, we could get Javi Baez, but like I'm just letting people know like.
Yeah, relax. We got. You'll
get ahead if you're the Braves. All right, you're as a Falcons fan, you're an Atlanta team. Remember your place. Yeah, like shots. Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying. I've shown up here with Falcons gear, so I know.
Respect. Look, man. As far as the gold thing, I think we talked about it with Grub, but we had Grub on.
Mm.
And I just think, look, it's the elephant in the room. It's awful. The offerings are terrible.
Yeah.
We know what's going on, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's not getting rid of anytime soon until, well, in my opinion, Game Pass subscribers hit a specific internal number that they feel comfortable with from a revenue standpoint. Because at the end of the day, we could say it's trash, but they still have a huge portion of this Xbox Live online community still on that. And sorry, man, the numbers talk. So it's going to be a while, whatever that number is, whether it's 50 million subs or whatever it is, when they hit that to compensate, but it will go. It will go. It's just, just roll your eyes, ignore it, and just get hype about the Game Pass stuff we go talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the writing's on the wall, right? They changed it to Xbox Network. We still call it Xbox Live.
Xbox Live.
What the hell is Xbox Network? I don't even think Xbox calls it Xbox Network anymore. So, yeah, they're going to get rid of it. Jeff Grubb has doubled down on that even on our own show, being like, yeah, that's something like he's pretty adamant about, and understandably so. I think even if there were no inside sources, you could just guess like Game Pass clearly overrules what's going on with Xbox Live Gold. That used to be the conversation because there was that back and forth between PS Plus and Xbox Live Gold. I think Xbox has just stormed ahead with Game Pass. So they're going to get rid of it as soon as they can. But here's the thing. This is the funny conversation. A lot of people like to be the armchair spender for Microsoft, right? Yes. They're like, well, you only got 25 million subs at $10 a month. You can let that go. I'm like, do you realize how much money they're just walking away from that they got to make up for? Like, that's a lot. They built that up over decades. You know, like they need to keep Xbox Live Gold around for a little bit. So they're going to. There's just too much money to be made.
Agreed.
Plus, it's a perk in Game Pass Ultimate, so they might have to find a way to fill that void. I don't know.
Factual.
All right, let's talk to Don Otaku for our third write-in. What's up, Chaotic Good Cog and Lawful Evil Matty? For a long time, the question has always been, what can Xbox do to catch up to Sony and Nintendo, who's in their own world? But I want to go a different route. Let's say 3 years from now, Starfield, Fable, Hellblade 2, Avowed, 1 vs. 100, Project Dragon, etc. has dropped along with the 40-plus projects expected to be out by then, all releasing in Game Pass, of course. They mostly all dropped to critical acclaim with 80-plus Metascores and a few 90-plus for the games we expect to be the standouts. On top of that, Velocity architecture is hitting, as they said. Cloud gaming quality is better than ever and available on every device and in many more countries. More features that make the console better are out, like Game DVR's overhaul. Xbox has bought 2 more big publishers, maybe Sega, and Xbox has finally reached the potential we have all seen with Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer shared his vision. That's a little, I think, King, right?
Yeah, definitely King. That's all King right there.
My question is, what could Sony do to compete at that point? They could always follow suit, but they will be late to the party in every way. And they don't have the money to beat Microsoft in a studio battle on top of having to pay for the cloud services, which Microsoft doesn't have to worry about. How would Sony be able to go toe-to-toe with Xbox once they've reached their final form? Have a going to step on a roach, but it starts flying kind of day, Dukes.
Yo, you don't want them roach. Those is water bugs. Listen, shout out to the Don Talk. I know who this is. Salute to him. He's outside. You know, he's feeling good. Listen, Xbox fans, I get it. And 2021 has been an absolutely, amazing end to the year. I feel the last 6 months they really showed. If you ask me personally, I think I've had this conversation internally. I felt they won 2021. I think it started off looking spooky. They was up against the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Like Sony had the Returnal, they had the Ratchet, they had Deathloop. It was, and I know Xbox fans like, yeah, we get Deathloop, but you got to give that to them. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like,
fans don't want Deathloop.
Yeah, I'm like, we're gonna get it to the game. I can't wait to talk Game Awards with you because it's gonna be fun. I love this. Your slander is awesome. I love it. So, look, here's the thing, and we got to be real. I know we popping bottles right now, but 2022, bro. Really, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you look at what Sony is offering, you're talking about Horizon Forbidden West. You talking about a Gran Turismo, regardless of how you feel about it, right? You talking about a God of War Ragnarok. So that's all in 1 year. Xbox gonna have to get now. Granted, I know it. We got Starfield. That's end of the year, right? You talk for the first 6 to 8. We really don't. I mean, Grounded, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, there's ones that we already know, like Grounded, Redfall, but
I mean, on paper, right? Based on what we know about Sony's track record and their history with dumb studios, right? those most likely going to be 90s, right? Or bangers, most likely, right? Unless a crazy banana peel. So then
I'd be
it comes
shocked
down,
if they went below that.
I will be shocked. Like it's rare now, right? So look, don't pop off yet. Still a competitive gen. I keep telling people this is the gen for Xbox to get back in the mix. But don't get gassed now because Halo's outside. I know the chess is out. You knock the champ out. You the comeback kids. I get it. Next year they coming and they're gonna have their chest out, and I want to see how Xbox responds to that because that is a heavy trifecta. But what you think? Am I giving them Sony too much credit? Or
I do not think so. I think Horizon Forbidden West looks fantastic. It really looks to. I thought the gameplay in Zero Dawn was great, and it looks to add to what would make that even better. That I wouldn't think of, like the melee combat, the verticality. It just looks really fun. Story alone, like the story, I thought long term was a bit forgettable. It didn't really stick with me, but it's such a cool world to explore, to just see the sights in, and it's fun to play. I think just by that alone, that game will be excellent. And then God of War, I'm less crazy about compared to everyone else who calls it game of the generation, but to me, it's still a great game.
Gotcha.
And I feel like what I saw from the trailer, where it's much more open, spoke to me more because I felt like the semi-open stuff in the first God of War was very disjointed. It didn't work with me. It felt like exploration was clunky. Getting the platinum was a little annoying. So for me, and especially I guarantee most people who played this game and love it did not mess around with the Valkyrie boss fights, which showed that the combat system was a little fucking broken in that game. But no one's talking about that.
Yeah, Addict also agrees with you 100%.
Yeah, Valkyrie boss fight sucked. And the I always forget the name of it, that procedural dungeon stuff that they did, horrible. And I guarantee most people who sing the praises did not play that part of the game because it's not good. Like, that's no offense to them because the rest of the game's very good. But there's some definite blemishes there. But what I see in that trailer looks like a more complete vision of what the first game was, evolving a lot of things, more verticality, more movement, and especially more openness, which I think will be great for that game. So I cannot wait to see what they do. I do think here, however, what I'll say in Xbox's defense moving forward is they've got next-gen exclusives. That's huge, right? Starfield is next-gen exclusive. We already know PlayStation sat on PlayStation 4, right? They sat on PlayStation 4. They're saying God of War is there. You know, this is 2022 is kind of their last hurrah with that. In 2023, they're moving into that. Well, 2022, Xbox is already there. I'm not sure about Redfall. I don't remember if Redfall is next-gen exclusive. I want to say it is, but
I want to say it is, but
I'll double check that in a moment. But I know Starfield is.
Yes.
And I think that, at least to me, of course I'm biased, but I'm just saying, of course.
No, I'm with you there.
I think it's more tantalizing.
When we get to that talk, I'm there with you. Like, people are sleeping, in my opinion, but you know, we'll talk about it. But
exclusive to the series consoles, by the way, Redfall. So
Redfall,
me, that's the talk that we're gonna have is like, did PlayStation make the right call by holding their games back on old hardware? Can you feel that difference? Right. Versus Xbox, who went all in, and can you feel that next gen difference? Like, what is there? What's the evolution there? And I think we'll talk about Starfield later on in the show. What we're seeing, though, and what Todd Howard's saying, I feel like Starfield will feel very different from other BGS games.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's talk to the Rogue. Dear Debonar Dukes. I submitted this last week, but I realized it was after the deadline. Now, Cog, I don't mean to do this to you, man, but it's rare that someone says this about you. So I was like, let's, and I agreed with you. So I wanted to step up and defend you here. But here's what Rogue had to say. Cog had what I think was the worst take I've heard yet on this show. Mind you, we're at episode 48, and there's been a lot of bad takes here. Myself especially. In the last Defining Duke Ultimate, or possibly I just need some more explanation. Cog said he does not think that quick play, where most people spend their time, should have skill-based matchmaking. However, everyone else ignored his comment and moved on, so I'm not sure if that meant they agreed or not. Cog, can you explain your take to me? Are you hoping to get put into games where people are a lot worse or a lot better than you? I don't see how either would be that fun for me. And there's always someone on the other side in each situation. I think of sports comparisons. Football has skill-based matchmaking built in, with leagues being the system, being the mechanism. Let's just say that all the football teams decided that they wanted to play a casual game. So the Jets get matched up for a casual game with the Butler Golden Tornadoes JV team. I just have a hard time seeing how that's more fun. I hope you guys have a 1-20 KDR type of day, or heck, just as bad as a 20-1 Cog. I think your defense here is quite simple.
Let me get him.
Go
Let
for
me
it.
get him. First of all, shout out to the Rogue. Shout out to the Rogue. Because I like when people challenge, me. I have
Same here.
no problem.
I'm surprised I don't get it more.
Yeah. Look, man, it's very simple. It's very simple. The reason why I say that is that from the whole skill-based matchmaking and not having it in a quick play, especially with a game like Halo is this. All right, first of all, we're talking quick play. So we're talking about, I saw the spell.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I was like, bro, you're ruining the jersey.
I couldn't believe I just did that. I was like, man, did anyone see that?
I've had that happen. You good. So hopefully the jersey good.
No, it hit just the pants. So I looked like I pissed myself a little bit, but
right.
and it hit the black tee, so we're good.
Yeah, so you good. You good. Yeah, those don't get the jersey. So yeah, look, skill-based matchmaking, in my opinion, doesn't have a place in quick play, and especially with Halo. Let me tell you why. Because when you're looking at something like big team battle, right? So let's just say, man, like you were talking about, you going up in the Wasp, right? You're in the Wasp, you out here murdering cats, murdering fools. You know what I'm saying? I jump up in the Ghost. I'm out here just picking people off at spawn points, right? The point I'm saying is with skill-based, then I am now allotted, I am this high skill player, right? I am this high thing. So now where I feel skill-based matchmaking should be is ranked. That is the sweaty of the sweaty. You are sitting there trying to compete with others. Now, Mr. Wasp, Mr. Ghost, Mr. Vehicle Kill, who's not really showing gunplay skill, right, is going to be matched up in ranked. And to me, that's not a true accurate reflection. But my most important reason is why I don't like it in casual, because here's the thing. Casuals want to come in and they want to have a good time, right? They just want to feel good. Like if every match is sweat your balls off, is one, oh my God, it's down to the last thing, and you're playing against the most competitive. That is not fun to a casual. A casual person will leave your game because they like, bro, I just want to have a good time. Sometimes they don't care if they stomp. Sometimes they like that they stomped out someone. It makes them feel good. And then it's gonna balance itself out. So the last point exactly. And the last point I said is we have to use a caveat here because Halo Infinite 343 have not fully disclosed their actual skill-based system. However, if you go to the forums, if you check Reddit, there are complaints and people are like, yo, it's a very aggressive skill-based match in quick play. Yeah. So again, that's all the point. It's just quick play, generally speaking, should be for casual players. Last point, I forgot one last thing. Connection-based. That connection-based matchmaking should take precedence in quick play where the majority of people are there because guess what? There's reports going on right now of desynchronization in Halo Infinite, people having issues. So to me, prioritize having a smooth, connected match for the casual, for the masses versus, yo, we got to go against team such and such who's right here with our elo and it. That's all I'm saying. So, but good question. I get where you go, but that's my stance on it. I'm going to stand on it.
No, as you should. I agree with you. I think Halo 5, people are very quick to forget, was a sweat fest. And so when you're going aggressive with the skill-based matchmaking, I've already got a little bit of that in Halo Infinite. Like, I haven't detected a difference in vibe between quick play and when I go for challenges and ranked play, which I play a lot of. I have to almost try equally as hard, which is sad to say. I don't mind it. I enjoy that, but because I like the competitive nature of it. But I know that if I looked at Call of Duty, there's a separation. Like when I go to game battles, there's that clear sweat, that clear try hard versus casuals when you go into a domination, something like that. And you could tell that the skill level was much different there.
Yeah.
At least in the early days of COD. I haven't played multiplayer in some time, but.
Absolutely. No, I agree, man. I agree. But it's a good discussion. I definitely see it. Actually, the Destiny community, this always comes up as well, too. So it's a good one.
Not surprised on that one. Last question, and we'll get into the news. Jake Williams writes in, hey, Matty and Cog, with the holiday game releases upon us, the big three multiplayer FPS game series, COD, Battlefield, and Halo, have each put out their respective titles for the year. COD and Battlefield seem to be struggling pretty hard this year with buggy $60 to $70 games that almost feel as if they needed more time in the oven or not to be released at all. Halo has its own issues, but seems to be doing well overall. I know it's not a real competition or anything, but I feel like Halo has the best game out right now, even with the Battle Pass issues. Do you guys think Halo has won this year in the shooter market against Vanguard and 2042? Have a drop your phone screen first kind of day. Mm.
I want to quote my good brother King David. We have an emote for him when he does this. He goes, "It's an all natural situation," and that's what's going on with Halo Infinite, brother. It's an all that the King is back.
Mhm.
You see the shirt? The King
Yeah.
is back, man. Listen, you know, I wouldn't have predicted. I mean, it literally fell so perfectly for the Matty. Like it
Mhm.
just, you know, coming into this, we're like, yo, Call of Duty. I'll be honest, it was really Battlefield when I was scared.
Yeah, same.
I was like, Battlefield, man, they're doing modern, they're doing everything that we look like we want. You know, it's dropping around the same time. Can Halo, can the old man still shine in this era? It's been so long. And then, you know, COD is still COD, regardless of how we feel about it,
Mhm.
right? It's still COD. So it's just like, you know, when they come out, everybody got to make way. Maybe people used to move their release date, you know, when COD
Yeah.
comes out, you know, and then I feel obviously we've been talking about the Activision stuff and all that's going on. Then it's not that great a quality COD. Then Battlefield comes out, you do an amazing review on your channel, right? Mr. Matty Plays, subscribe,
Thank
make
you.
sure y'all on there. And, you know, you're talking about the issues, you're talking about some of the things, and I'm just like, yo, the lane is open up. And then we get the multiplayer fights from Halo.
Mhm.
And we go, yo, this is by far the most fun sandbox ever. And it just snowballs. And I think they got it. Out monetization and progression systems aside, from a core gameplay, it is back. And yeah, I think they got it. As long as they listen to their community and continue to go on, and then free to play, that was you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah, the King's back.
Yeah.
Halo's back. It's to me, it's not even close. It's the definitive shooter for the holiday and competitive. And I think the only thing they need to worry about is now going head to head with the other free to plays, because I think they've already beat these guys.
Absolutely. I think it's no contest. I really do.
Yeah,
I
gang,
think
bro.
I think it's really the tiers of Halo, Battlefield, COD. Because even though Battlefield's busted, like Battlefield
Yeah.
is fresh and new
Yes.
compared to Call of Duty, which has been
Yes.
people are tired of it this year. I don't know if they'll be tired of it next year. It's seemingly selective because there's never really a consistent pattern. But people are tired of it this year. So COD's definitely done the worst. Maybe not sales wise, but I think in terms of public reception, where Battlefield has been just really disappointing for people because of creative decisions that maybe can something with Dice, man. Like maybe it can be undone over time. Where we thought with Star Wars Battlefront 2, like it was over. There's no way they're changing this, and that ended up being such a phenomenal success late into its life. Halo, I think the biggest compliment I can say that I got from a video I was watching of the Act Man, so shout out to him, was it's really what's not in Halo that's an issue. And I think that speaks to how strong this game is because what's there is excellent. Now, there are things like custom games being busted. I'm missing my own SWAT team. When you go into custom games, it's a little
Oh
baffling
yeah.
how some of these playlists are missing. Like you can literally set in custom games, spawn with snipers, you know, spawn with this, spawn with that, where you could do team snipers, team rockets, like all this stuff. But they just don't have those playlists.
Right.
And you wonder, like, how difficult is it to set that
Right.
up? How difficult is it to set up SWAT where you turn off the radar and you make it one shot, you know, and turn off shields? How difficult is all of this, right?
I got some clarity on that when you finish.
Oh, that's really my main point is I think there are sticking issues, but they're, of course, compared to the rest of the competition, I think minor. But I think when you look at Halo Infinite, there's just too much good going for it. It's so significant to have a really good playing Halo game all these years later, right? We're talking probably Halo Reach, Halo 3, the last time I think we saw. I think Halo 5 played really well as well, but I think Halo 5 looked at COD and said, like, what can we do to be like that? Where Halo Infinite looked at Reach and 5 and said, what can be our hybrid here that feels very Halo? And they got it. And that's like a template that will always be in the future of Halo, which is it's why it's so crucial and incredible that they've nailed this down. But what were you going to add with insight?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, one, I totally agree with what you're saying in reference to now we're just comparing it to the great hierarchy of Halo games, right? Because where does it stay? This is how great this is, right? So, and to your point, I actually got some more insight. I got to shout out Duke Ryan, the OG checker. You know what I'm saying? And he had a great interview with Joseph Staten. And what I got from it, because I know you talk about the custom games. I know, shout out to Chris Rager. He went in, because I'll be honest, I don't really touch the custom game scene as much. Yeah. So it was good to get the insight from Chris. Y'all better get on that to find out the Ultimate. I keep telling y'all, Ultimate. But anyway, so, you know what I'm saying? So what happened is, you know, people are saying, like, it's limited, it's this, it's that. And he admitted it, Matty. Because, like, Ryan pressed him in a sense of, like, yo, you know, you brought into the project, what's your feeling? And the vibe was this. The vibe was, look, I saw the negative feedback. I asked Bonnie in the studio, this is Joseph speaking. I asked Bonnie if they need some help. They came back with a position. It was like, no, we could bring you on full time. You could really right the ship. Forget about just helping here and there. So that's what that is. And then he said the toughest thing was when he assessed everything, campaign, multiplayer, the whole bit. We need more time. It's not cooked. And he said that, and then going to the so the vibe I got was, and he literally says this, it was as much as it paid no forge and these modes, and he said it was more crucial to get the basic gameplay of what makes it great, because he feels his logic is if we fail that, then it doesn't matter if we have all these other features, which I kind of understand.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Not saying it's acceptable. I just empathize with that portion. So it's a good interview. I advise anyone to check it out when you get a chance. And
sure.
Yeah, I just think that it's one of those things that I do understand. Like, hey, get the gameplay right, then make sure you fix all this stuff, because people want that stuff.
Yes, we'll be talking about some of those fixes later in this episode. But excellent point you brought up there. All right, let's get into the news now. Starting off with the Game Awards, which are on this Thursday, December 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be streamed across YouTube and Twitch, going on for roughly 3 hours. While named after the awards that are handed out, the show is mostly watched due to its big announcements, such as in 2019 when Microsoft revealed the Xbox Series X on Geoff Keighley's stage alongside Hellblade 2. This year, Geoff confirmed 40 to 50 titles will be shown off, marking the most in the award show's history, and also that it's a complete marketing campaign. With that, it's time for some predictions on the announcements and awards. Now, I want to start off with, of course, announcements, reveals, all of that stuff, and see where you're at. I wrote down some thoughts I had, just because I know where my head, managing this show on top of it, I'll forget half my predictions. But I wanted to pick your brain first, whether it be on this list that I've put here on our doc, or separately that you feel might be at this show.
Look, I really want Hellblade too. I really do, man. I mean, I would love to see where the team's at and where it's going. And technically, it doesn't qualify for #just1 because it's not a new IP, but it's the best version of that genre of game that I feel the Xbox Game Studios had. And I'm not going to steal any more from you, but yeah, I mean I think. This is a weird one because, yes, I know we do know of some games, but to be honest, the one that actually, I'm going to surprise you, the one that actually I really want, I want to see the Kojima. I want to know what he's doing. I want to know what this cloud thing is. It's just so weird to see, even though we kind of have tangible inside proof that the letter of intent is there, to see him with Xbox is a statement. That's a statement. That is an optical thing that, I am here, right? And listen, I know people, we have writers that are Kojima fangirls and but like they go wild. Anything this man does. And he's been outside a little bit. He's been tweeting lately. We talked about it on Ultimate and the movie. He's active right now. And to me, it's right along line with potentially making this announcement. So that's the one those two are probably the ones I'm more excited about. But you've got some good ones. I didn't want to take, because there's one that I agree with you, but I didn't want to take your thunder.
Oh, dude, you're fine. That's why I made the list. Yeah. So one that I think is practically a guarantee at this point is Chrono Cross, the remake, remaster. This one, it has been rumored for a while, and it's interesting because I was gearing up to play Chrono Trigger for the first time ever.
The GOAT.
Yeah, apparently the GOAT, like the one that really set the standard moving forward. So,
yeah, but why no Chrono Trigger? Not to cut you, but like, I heard Cross is not regarded as like. Shout out to, I gotta give out my boy Bontis, who listens. Last word, my co-host on the last word, who listens to Define and Do. He loves us, by the way, and he. Yeah, no, he's good dude. We'll figure him out, get him on a Destiny Ultimate or something. We got to get E on.
That's all you, bro. That's all.
Oh yeah, we do. When Destiny season come, I'm gonna grab up Ray Gun. We're gonna do something. But what I was gonna say is like, I'm just curious. What's the logic, man? Like, Chrono Cross is not regarded like Chrono Trigger is the thing. Like, why would what you thinking? What you think?
Yeah, I actually did some research because my friend was having some issues because our whole group is like playing Chrono Trigger for the first time, and so like I didn't want to start SMT5 and Chrono Trigger, so
it's too much.
Sometime this month I'll be playing it, but I don't know if it'll be in time for content this year. But he was having a big issue with a certain elevator in the game that kept like this enemy kept having his health, and he was in a loop in this combat for like 5 minutes. He didn't even play the game. It kept looping his turn. It was really bad. And I was thinking, I remember hearing that the port on PC was bad for this game. I'm wondering, I have the DS version. I was like, let me look this up.
That is true.
And I looked up that they had 5 patches for Chrono Trigger. And then I remembered that the port on disc for Chrono Trigger was really bad. And I'm thinking that they just have a history of doing a bad job with Chrono Trigger. That it's 2 things. It's like, 1, this game has set the standard. Its art style is aged really well. Let it be, right? Just let it be. Don't do more damage. Don't risk doing more damage with a modernized take. People already know Chrono Trigger really matters. What people don't know much about, and people definitely don't talk about as much as Chrono Cross.
That is a fact.
So to me, I feel like this is your chance to bring it into the limelight. Like, oh, I've heard of Chrono Trigger. What's Chrono Cross? Like, I feel like that's going to be the core gamer reception. And then anyone who's looking for a JRPG might look into Chrono Cross. Like, I think that's what you get with this one. Because I would say as an RPG aficionado was like not aware of Chrono Cross for a decent amount of time. Like when I first heard of Chrono Trigger, I thought the reason it was so regarded was it was this one-off JRPG, and that was it. It was this meeting of the minds of a lot of very popular Japanese creators.
Yeah, iconic.
Absolutely. And that was it, right? Like I thought it was just a time capsule type of moment. But there was a sequel to it. So I think this is their chance to bring attention to that. And I think it could work in reverse. If people, they feel they've done a really good job with Chrono Cross, there's that talk of imagine if they do this with Trigger, right?
Right.
So that's where I'm at with it. I know it looks a little weird, but I think if they didn't fuck up the ports so often with this game, Chrono Trigger, I think they would have just said like, okay, let's do that. But this one is not as well known. It's not as well like known for its screw ups. So they're gonna do this one.
No doubt.
On my list as well is Avowed.
Woo!
Yes, Avowed is.
You fighting for this one. I love it.
I am putting it out there. I think Avowed happens. I feel really good about this one. Again, we had Obsidian. It feels like yesterday because I've been talking about it so much and reminding the audience so much that it's crazy. Like it's here now. But Obsidian said they will have more to show soon in June of 2021. This has to be it in my eyes. Like unless you wait till E3 next year, what the hell happened then?
Telling you, it's that new Grounded.
Yeah, imagine that Grounded trailer.
Gotta go come outside. You gonna throw tomatoes at the screen.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll be that guy who on Reddit punched a hole through his monitor because of Halo Infinite.
No, bro, I'll pull it for you. Now, listen, man. I don't know, but I will give you your role. If this happens, you've been willing this into existence.
Yeah,
like,
I feel
this
pretty
would
confident.
be amazing.
I have no sources on it, but I feel like I feel confident on it. Again, especially with the Jez Corden leak. It's like it's playable to some extent. It's there. It's making progress. It's ready. Let's see it. Let's set a primer because again, here's the thing: is I talk about Starfield being this very weird. It's this weird monkey wrench in their E3 plans because Todd Howard likes to take his time with big showcases for his games. So I'm thinking like Game Awards to me is Xbox's chance to get some reveals out of the way, some satiation for little beats ahead of E3 and after E3 that, so they don't have to all jam it into one showcase because this is the problem they have as they grow is they have to fit more into this gargantuan showcase and you risk games being forgotten about. So you have to spread the wealth a little bit more. And they like Keighley's stage. They like the exposure there. So show people the next Skyrim, right? Like what captures a big audience more than being like, this is it. Like this is, remember Skyrim, that game that got released 10 years ago? You probably forget about it because he has been released so many times afterwards. This is the next one. And this is like fresh, brand new technology. Like, I feel it's so obvious to me. Show it to the big audience.
Hey, I'm with it, man. If it happens, bro, I'm team Avowed, and we had this conversation with the frustration that there's a potential that we might not get at Elder Scrolls this generation based on what Bethesda's doing. So this could fill the void. And listen, I'm all about this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chaz and the information that he did kind of reveal. And yeah, absolutely. I'll be I'll tweet you publicly. You'll be like, yo, Matty was right. He called it. I bend the knee. The man did it. Like, that's what I'll be happy to be wrong about, because I'm always conservative with the things I love. I always like, let's see, because I don't want to get my heart broken, because you get used to your heart broken when it's something you love and you want.
Right.
So I'm just trying to, whatever. But I feel you, bro. Listen, let's go Obsidian. Let's do it.
Right. I'm feeling good about that one.
No doubt. What else?
I'm feeling pretty good about BioShock as well. I was talking to Cobra Commander, and I know on this coming Sacred Symbols episode, he will be sharing something he has learned about the new BioShock game. He has pretty good info on it. So he'll be sharing it on Sacred Symbols, and then I'll be having him on my channel next week to kind of do what I did with Jeff Grubb, to follow up with the leak and be like, here, let's have a conversation. So he's in on that. So we'll have that on my channel as well. And of course, we'll be talking about whatever Colin reports on Defining Duke as well. If anyone doesn't want to watch me individually, it's okay. I understand. So yeah, I feel like BioShock is one I want to mark down, because I saw a logo leak online that's quietly floating around. It's called BioShock Isolation. Now, I don't know if this is what it's actually called, so I don't want to go too into that specific leak, but it got me thinking that it's probably time for this to be revealed. Not a gameplay trailer or anything, but it's probably time to show what it's called, an idea of the setting, the time period, because I don't think, and people can correct me, outside of, I would say, Fallout, I don't know if to a series, a setting matters more than BioShock, because it's so integral. You're talking an underwater dystopian city, a envisioned utopia in the sky, right? And people go, well, you went above, you went below. Where do you go next?
Where do you go? Yeah.
Right. And if that Isolation name is true, you imagine it's just going to be a state that like secedes and does its own thing as per usual. Maybe off the coast or something. I don't know. Yeah. But I feel like it's time to give the audience an idea of what Cloud Chamber Games is working on and what this vision of this game is, because I think they're keeping it close to their chest, because once the conversation starts, people will start digging up, as I already did. They're looking into some live service elements with this game. And I definitely am, at least in job listings and conversations, they're looking into that type of stuff. And so I'm a little worried on that front. And I think that's why they're keeping it close to their chest. So when they could talk, they can keep that window short. So maybe that doesn't show up here, but I feel like it's time to learn just the game's name and maybe nothing more.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, get that what I call it, the PNG. You know what I'm saying? Get that JPEG up there, just show that it's being worked on, and it's a thing. So people get surprised by that, and people get really excited. So I'm with it.
Absolutely.
I'm with all that. Yeah, man.
Last game I got on my list here, Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
Yeah, this one, it's been a long while. I saw someone who's been a decent, accurate leaker mentioned that Warner Bros. Is in the process of approving a new trailer. So it seems like there's a pretty strong likelihood of this. Hogwarts Legacy is like my go-to, like every showcase I just bump it back, right? Like it's in this one then. It's in this one. Like, yeah.
I hope this don't happen with Avowed. But continue.
Avowed is the Xbox version of that, right? But Hogwarts Legacy, it's like, it's time, man. Like this game was revealed finally after a huge leak, then delayed for a long while. It went through a whole issue with its director. Director's out now. They already got the controversy with J.K. Rowling that's going to follow this game to its grave. Yeah. I think it's just, you're going to get slander no matter what. Just show people the game. It should be able to stand on its own. People shouldn't have to mix the pot so closely together, I feel. But those are my picks, personally. Those are my predictions for games that we will see at the Game Awards. Anything you want to add to this list? Anything you disagree with or agree with?
No, I think this is solid. I'm excited. Man. Regardless of how I feel with certain things about the jury selection process and all that. But, at the end of the day, I always say, hey, I never attack Geoff personally, because I feel that at the end of the day, this is our Oscars. This is what we as geeks are excited about. I'm hearing what they said Sting is going to be performing. And I'm like, all right. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, look, I know some people are like, yo, that's corny. What the hell? Like, I get it, but I just like that it exists. I really like that there's a game award show for us and everybody gets celebrated. And I'm one of the cheesy dudes that
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna front, man. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. But I do like when I know you hate it because you said you hate it, but I do like when they do the little game of the year. They had everyone had an orchestra for the music of the game. It gets me in my feels. That's my Christmas thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I know there's certain themes that resonate with me for like certain games, for my favorite games. And when I hear it, it takes me there to that place. I'm like, I kind of like that. That's what I got. But I'm hype. We'll see what's going to go down, man.
So what I wanted to do to wrap up this segment was just make some predictions here based on what the nominees are. So what I've got tabbed up right now, Game of the Year, Best Narrative, Best Role-Playing Game. I don't want to run through every single one of these. There's just so many categories.
Yeah, it's a ton.
Best Multiplayer, I want to throw in there as well.
Yeah.
And if anything else you want to toss in there, but to me, those are kind of the major ones.
Yeah, those are the best. Those are the main ones. Let's do that.
So we'll do those 4. So Game of the Year, the nominees are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. Cog. This isn't obviously our Game of the Year list, but we're deciding, hey, we'll have our own Game of the Year show for those who are wondering at the end of the year. But these are the selections. What do you think comes out on top here?
Struggle with this. We just had this on R.I.P as well. This is how I broke it down. And I said to myself, I don't see Resident Evil winning this. That's just me personally. I eliminated, sadly, to a lot of people's upset, I eliminated It Takes Two. I mean, Metroid Dread. I said I could see that winning like action adventure, but not Game of the Year, right? Then it came down to me, and I'm going to surprise you, I eliminated Ratchet & Clank. And I said,
I don't think that's very surprising personally, but
let's be honest, like a lot of Sony Nation, very hardcore about their exclusives and stuff like that. But, between the people I trust and the people who, like yourself, Addict, have really gone through it, the consensus was Psychonauts 2 is a better game than that. Right? So then it left me with Psychonauts 2, It Takes Two, and Deathloop. And then my mentality there was It Takes Two does deserve to be in the conversation. I just don't know if it will. I just don't know if it will. Listen, if it wins, great. I just don't know if It Takes Two will. I think it will win like cooperative game of the whatever, other unique things, which left it down to me to Psychonauts 2 and your beloved Deathloop. And I know Deathloop's not on your list, but I gotta be honest, Matty. I'm gonna go against you for the first time in a long time. I think that I want to go with my heart and say Psychonauts 2 because I love the narrative. I love the unique ideas, Schaefer, the team, and the thought process of mental health, and I think that's doing something different. But the reason why I went with Deathloop, to your chagrin, is that as much as you are Mr. Matty Plays, you are the arcane guy, right? You understand that as far as arcane is, that ain't their top joint. But the casual who may not be familiar, they're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've never seen. And that's why I thought you saw the hyperbole that you didn't like. That I know, yo, it was a folder, you discussed it, I love it. So the hyperbole for people who this is new to them, they're like, oh my God, I've never seen it, because they were probably fronting on Arcane. So I think Deathloop's going to do it, man. I think that's where I'm going with it. This is the most competitive game of the year. Any of these, for the most part, has a legit shot of winning, but I'm very curious about you because I know you're discussed with Deathloop. So I wonder how you broke this down. What was your logic?
So It Takes Two is out immediately. Not because it doesn't deserve it, but because the industry's already shown with Hitman 3 not being on really any major lists that they have short-term memory. They don't care if it's not coming out within September and on, you're probably not going to win. So It Takes Two is probably the best game on this list for a lot of people, and I would get why. It's definitely the most unique next to, I'd say, Psychonauts 2. But it doesn't matter, which sucks to say, because again, this is a whole marketing thing, and it bothers me. Metroid Dread and Deathloop were the two I came down to. Because I feel Psychonauts 2 for a lot of people is just too weird. And again, it sucks, but like it's very artsy. It's very out there, and I think those who play it will enjoy and adore its themes. It's a competent 3D, not even competent, it's an excellent 3D platformer, which is unheard of nowadays. But there's so much charm in this game. But I just think, again, from the outside looking in, like we're in the Xbox ecosystem, right? Like we're deeply entrenched, and even I was judging this game harshly until I previewed it and went, "Hey, this is good."
You told me.
Yeah, it's really good. So I feel like, not just because it's my own perspective that everyone has to share that, but I feel like Psychonauts 1's nostalgic power was not enough to win enough people over to try out 2. But I do think if I were to pick one from this list myself personally, it would have been Psychonauts 2.
Okay.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I'm sorry, I thought 2016 was just better, so that's gone. And Resident Evil Village is a shameless copy of Resident Evil 4, and so I'm not crazy about it.
That's Forza 5 as far as Horizon 5 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, right? I'm right there with you. I think that was the year, and that was the game that they bumped. That or Ratchet and Clank. Not because I don't like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I got the platinum for, but to me, it's just it felt like they oversold the SSD stuff in my eye.
Yeah.
It was definitely doing something, but it didn't do enough for me personally beyond that. Yep. So, like I said, we come down to Metroid Dread and Deathloop because that's been the loudest conversation. They released late in the year. That absolutely matters. Those scores were excellent. I went with Deathloop though, because Metroid Dread is too difficult. It's too difficult. I'm sorry, but it's too difficult. So Deathloop is going to win Game of the Year.
Okay. Now this
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, because I've even seen the mainstream media saying that part of Deathloop's design, which they have now fixed in patches, was the AI being bad because it's a murder puzzle, which is fucking bullshit, by the way. But Deathloop is going to win Game of the Year because it's a 10-hour game. It's short. It's been recent. It's loved. It's a platform for the future. It's everything that I think journalists are gonna fucking love and eat up, and so this is gonna win. Like I will fall out of my fucking chair on stream if Deathloop doesn't take it all.
Yeah, I will be surprised. To your credit, the other thing that gave it away, that gave me some inclination, was when they look at like performances, right? And they were like 2 Deathloop. Both of them were the actor and actress was in there. I was like, oh, interesting. And again, you see a lot of consistency across the board. And the last thing I'll say,
multi-plat. Sorry, forgot to bring that up. Multi-plat.
Oh yeah, no, facts. That's a fact. And the other thing that Attic brought to my attention in reference that goes against Metroid Dread was, besides the hard difficulty, is the fact that, again, if you look at the categories, Metroid Dread is really, if you look at all of, he's not in a lot of categories. It's just like this and maybe one more. Whereas Deathloop is in the majority of categories in so many different things. So it was interesting. But I'm with you. Yeah. I think the mindset will be there.
Absolutely. So we both picked Deathloop for Game of the Year. Not our personal games of the year, but we both picked Deathloop to be nominated for Game of the Year. Like, why is it Hitman 3 here, man? It's just like...
brother. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful.
It is. But yeah, my opinion at the end of the day. So... yeah, can't match everyone's. All right, so next we got Best Narrative, and from there is Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange, True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2. I thought this was a more interesting selection because I think one of them here, being Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, was not an expected selection by any means whatsoever. And then you got Life is Strange getting some cred, which it typically has not, I think, in past years, at least from what I can recall.
Yeah, this one... Again, good discussions here. Good discussions. If I'm gonna go letter to the Lord, technically Life is Strange should win this, right? Because it's like a narrative-based game. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into when I get into my game.
Outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
I mean, that's literally what the game does. That is the single thing that the game is trying to do. So I went there. I mean, then It Takes Two is really good. But I don't know if it's going to win that. I was surprised Guardians is in. Now, I am playing Guardians, and I am enjoying the hell out of it. However, I do need to finish it, and then I can comment better on it. So I have to go with my guesses here. And this was hard because I could see Deathloop trying to sneak in the mix, but I didn't go with Deathloop this one.
Yeah.
I didn't go with Deathloop. This is I took a stand. I said, if there's anything Psychonauts has a chance to win, this is the only one. Because I was like, I couldn't see it winning out. But I was like, it's so quirky. Like you said, the charm, the mental health. I was like, baby, Psychonauts. So I'm going with my heart on this one a little bit.
I respect it.
Go with Psychonauts on this. Well, I'm curious, what's your thought process? How did you break it down?
Yeah, so I haven't played It Takes Two, and I haven't played Life is Strange. So for me, those two, I just have to kind of write off the list. I think It Takes Two, from what I've heard, is pretty charming and endearing, where I could see that coming out of nowhere and winning from my perspective.
Yeah.
Life is Strange is always very story focused, so I could see how that resonates with a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm really hitting this game hard, but like, I am fucking shocked that Deathloop actually. Here's the thing: is
I love the slander. I'm here for it.
Well, no, I'm trying to be objective here, and like, I know the audience probably thinks I just got a bone to pick with this game, and it's tired at this point, and I get that. But like, people vote on this stuff, and a large consensus in the games industry, like, play Deathloop. Its gameplay is very sound and can be enjoyable. Its story. Did you like how Fallout 76's story was told? Because that's how most of the delivery in Deathloop is. Like, we just need some consistency here, is all I'm saying. And I didn't think the way it was delivered was really that intriguing, because they give you all the answers up front. So there's the narrative potential was lost on me.
Fair enough.
I pick Guardians of the Galaxy.
Bro.
I think there's a surprise factor there that's working in its favor. Not a lot of people expected much from this game, myself included. But I think, and you'll see this by the end of the game, it's really less about the story and more about the adventure. And they do a good job developing all these characters. And there's so many moments you can really smell the roses and talk with these characters more and build them up and just side conversations. But what's really impressive to me is the amount of audio cues they have that has these characters all interacting with each other. Like, it feels like family, like a dysfunctional family. And the fact that they nail some emotional moments there, I don't want to specify chapters.
No, bro.
There are some good ones.
Not to cut you, and I'm very close to changing. It just, everyone has said what you said.
Yeah.
And what I've played so far, I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? It's just, I need to end it because then, so I told Soft, even with R.I.P, and I'm going to backtrack a little bit that if I get it done by this week, this could change. You know what I'm saying? This could change, but I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'm going with Guardians of the Galaxy. Psychonauts 2 has a good story, but I walked away loving its themes. Like, okay, so Persona 5 Royal to me is a perfect marriage of themes and storytelling, while I think the themes in, say, Psychonauts 2 really drove like its environments as well. Like, it was a mixture of it all. It wasn't really what was being said to me and what the game was trying to convey to me through a narrative. It was more so like the collective experience and how you were diving literally into someone's mind. Where I think Guardians of the Galaxy, as a story being told, did the best job from what I experienced, of course, out of this list.
No doubt.
So let's move on to best role-playing game. For the best game designed with rich player customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences, we have Cyberpunk 2077, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. This is understandably my favorite category.
Which one is it again? Because I'm looking for, it's the best
role-playing game.
Role-playing. Well, I'm not blanking now.
I think it's on the bottom right, around there, if I remember correctly.
The best consequence. Oh, there it is. Yeah, bottom left. Okay. Woo,
bottom left? Okay.
Yeah, bottom left. I was like, where is it? Okay, cool. Yeah. Cyberpunk, no.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Totally get it.
I can't, you know,
I can't
do that for you.
I get it.
Which led me down to, I can't comment on Shin Megami because you played it. I can't, you know, and it sucks because I really want to be in that conversation because I did not play. But it came down to, for me, Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise. And my Tales of Arise people are outside. They're telling me, they're like, Cog, you were one of them. You were like, yo, Cog, this is what it is. So I'm leaning Tales. I think that's where I'm going with it. But I wish I did play Shin Megami because now what you just told me earlier, I'm like, damn, that sounds fire.
Yeah.
And I just wish I played it. So I defer to you on this one. Like, where are you at with it?
It's a tough category this year. Monster Hunter Rise, I put 20 hours into and dropped. I'm not in love with the
Yeah,
Monster Hunter formula. It's kind of what I've
me
accepted.
neither.
But
I'm not.
if it's Dragon's Dogma, now we're talking, because
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma is that like marriage of role playing and
Mhm.
Monster Hunter that I need. This is really tough for me because I know I'm very
I
isolated
know.
on it, but I liked Cyberpunk 2077 a lot. But I
Ooh!
cannot ignore its issues. And I don't think it would be a good look if a game that broken that got stripped off the storefronts
Off
won.
principle,
Yeah,
Matty.
it can't. The fact that it got nominated is really shocking to me.
Same.
Because again, I am someone who says like, look, when this game is worth playing, technically,
Yeah.
like you should go and play it. I thought it was
Facts.
excellent. I liked it more in The
Facts.
Witcher 3 in a lot of ways.
Facts.
But you just can't. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't overrule. Like, as a game, I think it's excellent, but you can't. And
Yeah.
there's definitely flaws with the game beyond its technical stuff that I've talked
Mhm.
about on my channel. But you just can't overrule what's happened with it and give it an award for that. You can't.
I agree.
So it left me with SMT5 and Tales of
Mhm.
Arise. Both
Mhm.
games I'm playing, both games I have loved or am loving. Tales of Arise right now is in my top 2 for game of the year.
Ooh.
But SMT5s are coming. Obviously, I need to complete SMT5. I think this, out of everything on the list, is the most true RPG. Like, SMT5 has build. There are choices for the story that I didn't even touch on earlier when we were talking about the game. But like, SMT5 actually has like real choice and consequence, and the SMT series does in general. It's one of my favorite things about it. So it's got that. It's got the demon fusing, party building. There it's a true RPG in the sense of what they're describing it as, and for me personally, fits the mold best. Where this would be my pick. Even
I
though
respect it.
Tales of Arise, man, I think it's a must-play JRPG. Like, I think
Yeah, you were
it's
talking
up
about
there.
it.
Like, is it Persona
Yeah.
5 to me? No, but like, or Persona in general, no. But like, this is, I think, what Final Fantasy 15 should have been, like that accessible action RPG that longtime fans love and new fans will absolutely love. Like, that's what that is to me. But it's an action RPG, so it's lighter on the mechanics, where I feel SMT5 is strong on mechanics and it's strong on depth of character building. It's got it all. But it ain't gonna win. It's too late. It's too late. It came out the 11th, the 10th or something like that of November. It's too late. Sorry. So it's going to be something like Monster Hunter Rise, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like the logic there.
Last, not least, though, multiplayer. It's been a multiplayer-centric year, that's for damn sure. And some of the heavy hitters are not present.
Yeah.
Back for Blood, Knockout City, It Takes Two, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, and Valheim. It's crazy. I did not remember Valheim came out this year, but it did.
Yeah. This is an interesting
What do you
one.
got? We got co-op in there. Like, It Takes Two, man. That's a strong showing to be in the multiplayer category.
Man, this is tough. Only for a couple reasons. All right, let me get the eliminators out. Back for Blood, I love you. But there is something missing. There's something missing that doesn't make you Left 4 Dead. And we like it. Great Game Pass game. Get in the mix. But I had to eliminate. Knockout City, I played. It was cool. It was cool. I mean, it was a good game, I'm with you. I'm not on the Monster Hunter Rise. So that was out. Which left me to It Takes Two, which technically is multiplayer according to the rules of the law. They're saying including co-op and massively. So that is a strong contender for this. There's no doubt, right? Then it came down to Valheim, which I didn't play, but I heard good things. But I gotta be real with you, Manny. I'm a Destiny guy. When Destiny's been down, everyone migrated to New World. They were on the New World train. New World. Now I heard New World does have some issues, whatever. I don't think I could go against it, man. When you put the multiplayer scene and that MMO, that live service, and they go there, and that's the new kid on the block. My heart wants to go what It Takes Two. I'm just gonna go by what I saw the industry respond to, and that's why I picked New World. But It Takes Two should win this. It Takes Two should win this. I mean, I'm not gonna say. I'm very curious the impact, if New World has enough impact to do this. So I'm curious with you. What do you say?
Yeah, Back for Blood is one that I kind of wiped off the list immediately. I like you. There's just something missing. There's not that
Yeah.
magic there right now. I think it might just be the versus play missing that I didn't think was a big deal, but I think it's playing a bigger factor. And I thought we were going to do a spoiler cast review discussion for it, but we just didn't have enough people that I was aware of outside of our friend Jimmy,
Yeah.
who played this. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll stitch that together before the year's up.
Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy.
But at the end of the day, like I didn't play it enough to get in on that and
Mhm.
orchestrate that episode. But yeah, Back for Blood just didn't really speak to me as much as I thought it would. Knockout
Yeah.
City, I just don't care. Monster Hunter Rise is one that I think is a strong contender, probably the strongest one
Oh.
here. I just think that
Oh.
co-op monster
Okay.
slaying action has worked well for them, and this is kind of like a mastery of the formula for a lot of people. Valheim is celebrated because it worked.
Right.
It was very popular, but it's because it came out and it worked, and that was such like a novel concept for like this early access game. Not that it's bad,
Mhm.
but to me, I think that will be quickly forgotten. New World did amazing numbers, but to me didn't look. I want to play it, but it didn't
Mhm.
look mechanically like it was reinventing anything. It reminded me a lot of RuneScape, which has already been done
Okay.
before. So I'm going with It
Mhm.
Takes Two. I think
Solid.
that just on the essence of its design, this is a
Yes.
co-op only. Like you buy the game,
Yeah. No, you're right.
it's like we had that with A Way Out. But
Mhm.
It Takes Two
Yes.
is apparently really good. It's fun. It's a little bit longer, better story. I feel like it's in a very drastic improvement of what they originally tried to do. And we just don't get games like It Takes Two at all until Joseph Ferris and Hazelight roll around
Yes.
with their
Salute to Hayes Light.
releases. And
Salute to them.
I just think that they need to give this game the spotlight because there's
Yeah.
nothing quite like it. Like you have to respect how unique this one is
You're right.
amongst its multiplayer brethren. Where I don't know if Halo Infinite was on this list, I'd be like, yeah, that's it. But there's not. There's none of the shooters on of the
Yeah.
year on
No,
this
you're
list,
right.
which is very telling of where they're at. That Back for Blood is here, but like COD and Battlefield didn't crack the list. Halo couldn't because of its release date.
We stayed.
But yeah, I think It Takes Two should run away with this
Yeah.
one.
Super large, super logical. And it makes sense. And this is the category for It Takes Two to clean house. I mean, this is what they're built for. So I can totally see it.
Absolutely. So that's what's going on with the Game Awards. Let's move on to number 2 here. Got to talk about BioWare. BioWare has notoriously struggled in recent years thanks to staggeringly poor releases like Mass Effect Andromeda on March 21st, 2017, and Anthem on February 22nd, 2019. The latter being such a crater to the company that its negative impact, alongside the towering success known as Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, had forced EA and BioWare to collectively pivot away from their strategy of live service into what the RPG titan was traditionally known for, single-player RPGs. Since then, the team has toiled away on Dragon Age 4, whose last entry was seen in 2014 with the release of Dragon Age Inquisition, a game reportedly so successful that it internally bothered BioWare because it would lead to them using development tools such as Frostbite, which would undoubtedly cause them future headaches, and it did just that. Dragon Age 4 has seen up and down development cycle with multiple key development members exiting and reports stating it was initially a live service game that has now transformed into a single player one. While in July 2021, Dragon Age 4's executive producer Christian Daly stated the game had momentum and is making great progress, things may be slowing down a bit as the year closes out. Matt Goldman, a multi-decade veteran at BioWare at 25 years, has exited as the game's creative director. In an email shared by Kotaku, here's what BioWare had to say internally about the exit. Quote, "Hi everyone, I hope you are well. I'm writing to inform you that Matt Goldman is leaving BioWare. We have mutually agreed to part ways, and his last day is today. We understand that Matt's departure has an impact on you, as well as the game's development. Rest assured, our commitment to a high-quality Dragon Age game has not wavered, and we will not ship a game that is not up to BioWare standards. We, including EA's executive team, have absolute confidence in the leadership here at the studio and the people working on this game to carry forward our vision," end quote. According to reports by Jeff Grubb, Dragon Age 4 likely won't be rolling around until 2023, as BioWare has been quite vocal on making sure the game ships when it is ready. Joaquin Branch writes in, "Hello, my brothers in green. My question has to do with the fate of BioWare. The Dragon Age director Matt Goldman has left after 20 years, and it is another long-standing employee abruptly leaving for unknown reasons. Hypothetically speaking, if EA decides to sell the company before closing, would you gentlemen like to see Xbox try and salvage the studio? BioWare and Xbox have a long-standing history and would be good PR for the studio, but in my opinion, without the IP, I don't see it happening. What say you, gents? Lastly, Matty, sing this." I'm an island boy. What is?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you were gonna give me some context.
No, I saw it. I remember reading it and being like, maybe Cog will fill me in on this because I know as a younger guy, like I forgot there was something I read on the show. I couldn't pronounce a name or whatever, and like the comments were really after me on that one. They're like, "Wow, Matt, you're really showing your age on that." So I thought maybe you'd have. So Joaquin can follow up on that.
Yeah, please do.
Before we answer Joaquin's question, I wanted to get in the mix of the conversation here.
Sure.
Let's talk about this nature of the exit, because when you look at, I think like when Casey Hudson left, it's a lot more ceremonious, right? We're talking about someone who worked there for 25 years.
Shout out to the mullet.
And they're like, yeah, right? We're talking about someone who's there for 25 years in a significant position. They're like, I'm writing to inform you, Matt Goldman is leaving BioWare. That's their internal thing. No appreciation, no love for the man. EA's public message is a mutual departure. I'm getting the feeling something was happening here internally, that they're kind of just like, we're not going to fire you. You got to go type of thing. Whether that be results based or I'm guessing like, something much worse, which BioWare's had a history of poor work culture. We're hoping that's not showing its face again here, whatever it is. But someone gave maybe even half their life to this company and they just went, see ya, right? No context. I'm sure maybe more will appear in the future, but I think this is quite telling. So where do you land on that, about the status of this departure and what it means for Dragon Age 4?
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it's just not a shout out to the cause when I talk, but yeah, like it's, I'm with you. I think that the exit emails or the exit statements actually do hold weight and how they are handled. And like you said, when it's someone beloved or it's a mutual, when I say it's not a mutual department, but when it's a departure on good terms, you get to see, hey, man, thank you for 25 years. We wish you luck in your next endeavor. You see like the very positive statement from the person who's left, hey, guys, it's in good hands. No external
either, right? Nothing on Twitter, nothing.
And that to me is always a sign. It's something you should go, okay, interesting, right? And to me, normally in gaming, I'll be honest, normally in gaming, I feel like us as gamers sometimes overblow departures, right? And I'd be like, yo, there's times when dudes is like, yo, they've been working on something for years. They just want to try something different. Hey, they want to go somewhere. I do feel sometimes we overblow. We go, oh my God, the studios and thing. However, I don't think that's the case with BioWare. And BioWare, this is too many examples now. Way too many examples of veteran leadership. It's guys with 20 plus, 10 plus leaving, and we know about we've heard, shout out to Jess Schreier with the amazing report on Anthem and what was going on there. You talked about they were internally upset that Dragon Age Inquisition did well because they were so frustrated with Frostbite and frustrated with everything that was going on with the tools provided, and they wanted to use their own stuff internally, that it became a problem. So, look, I think it's a big deal. And to your queen, his question, I don't want Microsoft no part of this, because my feeling is, what are you getting? It's not the same BioWare. Like the BioWare that we love, the sad reality, it does not exist. It is gone. The majority of those core vets, they're gone. So I don't want to disrespect anybody who's still there. I don't know them. But if you're expecting that classic feel, you may be fooling yourself thinking that, like, we ain't sending no kites over there. Let them, that it's sad what's going on, but it's just like, it's telling. To me, it's telling. There is a culture, there is something internally that all these veterans saying, I'm good, or whatever, and they're out.
It used to be the place that people wanted to go.
Yes.
Right? And I almost think, because they're, no disrespect to anyone who lives in Edmonton listening to this show, but I think part of the reason it's unattractive is going to Edmonton, like, as someone who went there for a hockey tournament.
Let's go. Break it down.
West Edmonton Mall, and that's it. Like, there is nothing to fucking do out there. Like, it is trees and wastelands for miles and miles and miles and miles. There is nothing happening in Edmonton, and I think
shout out to Edmonton listeners.
I'm sorry, but I was there, and I was like, I feel my depression coming back. Like, it was just not a fun place to be. And
Fair enough, fair enough.
I'm wondering if that plays a factor. Like, it's just not a active place. Like, it's just very isolated.
Mhm.
And so I think it's not attractive to go there, like, just based off location alone, let alone what's going on with the company. They used to be highly regarded. So there's something there. And again, I'm sure we'll get more details on what's happening internally there with Matt and his departure, or his reasoning for the departure. Because again, I think the fact that no one was writing anything on, say, Twitter, like, working with Matt has been an absolute blast. Like, nothing, just letting him go. Very, very telling. I'm right there with you with the idea that, the BioWare of old has been long gone.
Yeah.
I do know, however, that this new era of BioWare, I can't name names, but this might sound like not a scoop, because it's really not. But I think it's hearsay that it should be important to pass on. Is there's a new level of determination that has been relayed to me directly that is very different from BioWare of the last decade. Very much Bethesda Game Studios like back against the wall. We're swinging hard. That doesn't mean whatever they do next is going to be good, but I just want the audience to know this is something that they're taking very seriously. So I almost think it's possible with Matt that, like, if this guy wasn't getting results, that they're like, go, we need someone who's going to get shit done.
Okay.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from their energy and their attitude there, is like very results based.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of people like to scapegoat EA, and EA did their damage.
Yes,
but I look at something like Anthem. I look at Anthem as an example where like EA probably was a motivator to why they wanted to do it, but EA gave BioWare like 7 years to get that right, and BioWare made it in a year. That should be telling how incompetent BioWare was for a while. And so, again, this is not to say Dragon Age 4 will be a good game,
right?
But this is a game that they're taking more seriously than I've seen them. And I think they, with the momentum of Legendary Edition of all things, like them being reminded, this is what it's like when we release a game and people like it. Yeah. Like, it is loud. People are hyped. It's incredible.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking that we'll see what happens when Dragon Age 4 rolls around, but I'm hopeful that we'll at least see a stronger effort than past releases from them. And it's interesting because, to me, Mass Effect's the one they've just been consistent, really good with. Dragon Age is a really spotty series. I'm surprised there's as much love for it as there is, because I think, contrary to our brotherly podcast Secret Symbols, I think Origins is one of the GOATs. Dragon Age 2 is a great lore nerds game, but it's not a great video game. And Inquisition, in its structure and its gameplay delivery, is very MMO-like and not good. But underneath that is some good conversations to be had about its role-playing stuff, which is, I think, solid. So it's a very spotty series where Mass Effect is like, you know what you're going to get, and they just made it better every time. Mass Effect 3, I think, for a lot of people, withstanding. Yeah. But I just find it shocking that a lot of people are putting their chips in on the table for Dragon Age 4 to be that comeback game when it's been such a experimental series for them. But with what I'm hearing, like, maybe it ends up being good. They're certainly trying much more.
That's a good nugget. That's a good nugget. I'm going to pay attention to that.
Yeah, because I just think, like, again, you can tell with Andromeda and with especially Anthem, like, they were very aimless. Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Like, there's a direction. There's a sense of studio cohesion here.
Now, my question, though, is two-part. One, with the cohesion and direction, because I do agree with you, because, again, I know we like to dunk. It's popular to dunk on EA, right? And when you unearth the whole Anthem thing, you've seen dysfunction, you've seen lack of direction, them sitting around and nothing getting done, and people talking about meetings and things not happening and not getting answers from the team. My question in reference to this is, like, the only thing I'm concerned about is when you say, okay, I mean, granted, your Nugget, they're going all in, they're taking it serious. The only thing I'm worried about is when you say, okay, game direction, now we go from live service back to single, which I like. I do like that it's going in the single player, not live service. I'm just curious what led to the decision to be live service in the first place. And then now, you know what I mean? It just, that part's interesting to me, what's going on with them.
I think that's where EA does play a factor. EA didn't believe in single player games. Then they saw Jedi Fallen Order. And I know BioWare was internally, like, pressing, like, let us go single player with this. What unfortunately is going to happen, though, and what I'm curious is to see how much they extract and scrape out when it comes to the live service part of this game. and if it's going to feel like Avengers in design.
Yeah.
Because this was a change that was made relatively late in its development cycle. It's early enough where I think it'll feel like a single player game, but it was late enough where if it's coming out in 2023, you know, let's say it was a 4 or 5 year development cycle of like truly making this game, then half of it was spent making a live service game, building systems. Like that's what you start off with. Like that's what we started off with our game. You start off with the systems design. What is going to be the game systems? Like what are the mechanics here? And then you build up from there. So that's what they did. So I'm wondering like what they're going to retool, rework, and outright remove. Because what was reported was this traditional BioWare experience called like Project Joplin, which was a heist-based game that was going to be about 30 hours, which is like your beautiful BioWare sweet spot that they've always done right. 30 hours, highly replayable. You know, you handle heists in different ways, and there's a lot of choice and consequence and replayability there to something more live service element. So if they go back to Joplin, they might have one. I'm just saying, like by concept alone, BioWare has not done that template since Origins.
Yeah.
And
I'm with it.
Mass Effect 2, sorry. So
yeah, I'm with it. Let's see.
We will see indeed. Let's move on to another RPG, Starfield, number 3. The drip feed of Starfield information continues into early December as Bethesda launched a new video titled Into the Starfield, featuring game director Todd Howard, studio director Angela Browder, and art director Matt Carafano. The trio dives into a variety of topics throughout their 7-minute conversation. Alongside another batch of concept art for the sci-fi RPG, Todd Howard shared an interesting quote, perhaps suggesting it branching paths within Starfield. Quote, all the paths you didn't take that make it special to you, that you feel like when you finish that quest, you feel like you accomplished something that week, end quote. Beyond that, the team spotlighted that while many BGS employees have hung around for 2 decades, a staggering retention rate for today's industry, that new blood has entered the studio who were inspired by their games of yore. With a new era wishing to make those games they grew up on, a lot of the original Bethesda Game Studios' vision for the likes of Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 should be retained moving on to the new era. That doesn't mean Starfield will be like every game in the portfolio to a T, though. While retaining the first-person exploration, object interactivity, and day-night cycle, they state that the, quote, mechanics of the world are entirely different, end quote, perhaps leaning into spaceship exploration. The game is said to be in a, quote, more realistic and grounded world backed by science, end quote. Modding has also been very important to Bethesda's community, giving their RPGs an extremely long lease on life compared to others within its genre. A big focal point of the talk was on how modding has given their games a second life beyond what was initially created thanks to their development tools, and it appears that it's still the plan to make sure that Starfield is as moddable as ever. Starfield will launch November 11th in 2022, exclusive to Xbox and PC, as well as day one for Xbox Game Pass, exclusive to Series consoles, by the way. I did not write that originally.
Yes.
So Sean Mason is our write-in for this. Greetings, Dukes. Microsoft and Bethesda received a lot of flack for giving Starfield a definitive release date so far out, but I think they've remedied that problem with a seemingly consistent slow drip of content that they have been dropping every few weeks. It seems like at any point you could log on to Twitter to find either a video update or screenshots. The most recent video confirmed a new biome in the form of what appears to be a new planet. Starfield was already my most anticipated game of 2022, and the slow drip of content has only increased my hype for the game. A lot of companies fall victim to showing their game too early, but could this be the blueprint to how to succeed at showing a game's release date that far in advance? If so, do you think we could see a similar approach to future Bethesda Microsoft games? Best, Sean Mason.
Salute Sean Mason, the homie. Do
you mind if I leap ahead on this one?
Yo, please do. Please do. You're a Lord Bethesda.
Thank you. So in answer to Sean's question, I think not. I think this is a very Starfield-specific marketing campaign because Bethesda has not done something new in 20 years. So they need to give people a lot of heads up on what this game is and continue to tease them and remind them it exists. It's not Fallout. It's not Elder Scrolls. And this is something I mentioned back when it was revealed to expect that like when they were ready to start showing stuff they were going to, because this isn't Fallout, which you can say, hey, remember Fallout 3? We're doing the 4th one and it's out in 5 months. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that here. Like Starfield can't shadow drop. It needs marketing. It might even have, I don't think it will, but it very well possibly could have another like story trailer ahead of E3 to just let people know more about the universe before they do the full gameplay reveal, like Todd Howard said at E3 2022. So I don't think this is going to be something that you do see attached to a lot of Microsoft and Bethesda games because Bethesda's in a very particular position where they're breaking their own personal mold they set 6 years ago with Fallout 4, where they're working with something that's unfamiliar to people. So they need to get people to know what that is. But it's a really good question. I just want to know, Cog, what you're thinking on that.
Yeah, as far as first of all, I want to shout out the doc. You know, that was a little 7-minute thing with Todd and the guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna be real with you. Like as I look at 2022, and I know I've been talking. PlayStation's coming, and they are, but I can't front. Starfield has still remained the game I am the most excited about. I'm such a sci-fi guy. This is like a dream game for me in the sense of the Bethesda team, right? Doing an environment and a genre that I like. I'm Lord Sci-Fi. That's my thing. You put me in space, now you're talking factions and this, and then the more I'm learning about it, and then the art style and the biomes, the diversity, like it's looking good out here. Now they talking player choice, and Todd got me talk about, you look like you just accomplished something for the day. And the thing they said that I really liked was being lost in these worlds and how the player, then they create all these things and they pack it, and then the player can then kind of go off with the mod. So salute to them. I'm all in. I'm hyped. To the question, I do think, do we see a similar approach? Possibly with Bethesda and Microsoft games. The only reason why I'm saying it is because I don't think any other studio could get away with how they doing it. Because I think they got such a cachet, they can drip you.
Yeah.
They can drip you.
They've been working on it since 2016. So
right. And then there's a trust that is already established. You know what they bring, right? I think if other game studio tries to do that, this social media be like, we don't know nothing. I've seen some people, I was like, we know nothing. I want to know. I like when I don't know everything. I like when it's, you know what I mean? There's a mystery, there's an intrigue, and I like this. So for me, to me, it's like when you get everything spoiled, you're like, all right, I kind of know what they're doing kind of thing. And I think as we get close, what you said, we'll get that trailer and, it'll be like a more definitive, story type trailer kind of thing. And I'm excited. Like this is all me. I'm in.
What did you think about some of these little nuggets they provided us? Like, all the paths you didn't take. They talked about exploration focus, grounded in a realistic world.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, they worried about the stuff you eat, the toys kids play with, and I saw the little mechs and man, I'm trying to control. I know you've been on it with everything that comes out with your video, so I'm trying to control myself because I get fiend, bro. I get fiend when I love someone. I want to get it. This trip feed is perfect for me. I just got tuned in. I see Todd. I see the nice music. I see the backgrounds. I see the fact. Okay, cool. I just got my basic stuff, but I am feeling every aspect of it. And he even mentioned, he's like, our games are known for, you going in the world, touching every cup. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, they on it. I already know what I'm going to get immersed into this. And now there's the mystery of, I think I want to know, I mean, maybe I don't know, like, aliens? Do we have a little bit of that? Do we have, you know what I'm saying? I know we got
aliens will be in this game. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, then you talk about, there's a hinting of, space traversal and, I'm in, bro. I'm in. I'm all the way in. What about you?
Yeah, what I noticed was a change in their pattern of how they speak about this game. What I mean by that is they don't talk about branching paths in Bethesda Game Studios games anymore. They don't. Like, it's always about the building, the openness, the go there type of thing.
That's a good point.
And I was really pleased to see the first thing they say in the beginning 30 seconds was about like all the paths that you didn't take that make it special to you. It's like, that is role playing.
Yes.
I always tell people that it's about the paths that you can miss that make the games good, that if you come back 1 week later or 1 month or 1 year or 10 years, that you might learn something new and it feels like a new game. Like, there's no more value in gaming, I think, than role-playing games done right. And so him opening with that was significant to me because, again, does this mean that it's going to be like Morrowind where like it's a mega big background builder? I don't know. I doubt it because they've already talked about that. There are going to be skills. There's going to be a background you select. So that defines your character a little bit. I'm imagining NPCs will react to that. We've seen the script count. This game's going to be huge. But the way they're speaking about it, it's going to be more hardcore is what Todd said. They're not running away with hyperbole, which they typically have in their last 2 games. They've really let that run loose. They're using more controlled, like, it's a little more hardcore, and
Yeah.
it's about the paths you didn't take. Is it going to be a branching RPG storyline like Wasteland 3? No, do not
No.
expect that. I can tell you right off the bat, no.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a focus for them alone, I don't know if they'll nail it. To me, is significant. That's a very big change in philosophy from what they've done. And this was coming either way, because when they announced it, they were in just beginning talks with Xbox for acquisition, because that began, I think, October 2018. So actually, it was announced before any of that had begun. So yeah, they plan on doing this anyway, but maybe their acquisition with Microsoft, maybe that emboldened them a little bit more to know, like, go for it. You're gonna have the player count. That's what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. To your point, you made a good point about the paths, right, and how significant that was. Because one of the things I love about Bethesda games specifically, especially playing Skyrim, right, and those emergent stories of like, yo, I did this, and another person like, yo, that didn't happen to me. What? And it's like it's your personal version of the game, and I love those discussions. Like, yo, I didn't know on this day this thing could happen, and you meet this person, and I never seen that in my game, but I did something that you've never seen, and I love it. And that's just pure RPG to the core, and I love that
stories
stuff.
being told between friends is the true storytelling.
Yes,
of a role
talk
game,
about it,
right? So happy to see them focusing on that. Otherwise, modding is unsurprising. The exploration mechanics. What did you think about that? Because they said that the mechanics of the world are entirely different. My takeaway is, as I wrote in our little blog here, I said that to me it's probably spaceship exploration. But I want to know what you think. What does that say to you? Like, we know Bethesda games are those point A to point Bs. You have the map bar on the top. You see the logos, and you're like, oh, what's that over there? You see it in the distance. That mechanics, they said, are likely going to be retained. But what do you think? Entirely different. They use the wording, entirely different exploration mechanics in the world. Like, what is that to you?
I don't know. I'm that's again very intriguing to me. You know, they seem very spaceship oriented. You know what I mean? Your ship and this, and then I'm seeing the mechs and stuff. So, you know, there's a part of me that's like, there has to be some level, let's see, travel and traversal between different locales and locations. But then I was starting to think of like Outer Worlds and stuff. And then I'm like, I'm really intrigued. I don't know. Like, I just don't.
You know what?
I don't.
I just had a really good idea.
All right, let's go.
I know I asked you, but it just came to me, and that could kind of springboard us a little bit. There were those leaked screenshots, Cog. There was a little O2 meter. There was like looked like a sun meter. It looked like,
yes.
So I'm wondering if different planets have, obviously they would, different biomes that would interact with your character differently. You think that might be it? Like, almost like, you have to check your temperature while you're out there. Like if you're on the frozen planet that they showed in the recent concept art.
Yeah, then we got the suits and stuff like that, and maybe this all plays into that. There's a lot of potential here. I just don't know where they go with it. So but it all intrigued me. It all sounds cool. It all sounds dope. And again, this is why I love sci-fi. He even mentioned like, what Todd mentioned, like something like what's out there, right?
Yeah.
Like and that is what excites. That's why I love a series like a Mass Effect. I just love things. Sci-fi is the great unknown, and humanity's place in it. And then he also mentioned the game has two, let's say, like coming of age moments. So he used the term,
step out moments.
Step out moments. There you go. You watch that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You watch that. Okay. Because you like me. But two step out moments. So when I think step out, right, I think Fallout, jumping out the vault, this whole wasteland for you to explore.
Yeah.
What the hell is two step out moments?
I was wondering that myself. Yeah, I was like, two?
Like what touch point then? I could think space, the great frontier.
Like you take off and you see the galaxy in front of you. Almost.
I get that. What the hell is the second touch point in a space? Bro, he got me. I'm in. And then again, no other studio would be allowed this level of ambiguity because it's Bethesda. We know it's going to be fire. That's what it is. Like, they got the cachet, so we like, we good. Yeah. We know it's good. But anybody else trying to do it, be like, nah, fam, what you mean? You just talking. You just talking. Nah, this is
because they're referencing stuff that we know, right? Like, we know what a step out moment is. And in fact, they kind of define that. Like, that's what's really crazy about it. To me, I'm thinking you're not going to start you off in your ship. Like, you're going to have to get to your ship. So maybe your first step out moment is exiting a training facility of some kind because you're a part of this faction that the Constellation faction, and you're going out to explore the deep dark space. So once you finish your training, you exit the building, and I'm sure that's your first step out moment of like, whoa, you get to your ship, up you go.
And then the world.
That's yeah. So I'm thinking that's the step out moment,
possibly
sequence. That's my guess, but we'll see, man. I'm starting to get a little excited. I know I've used the word. I've used the words on my channel carefully of like I'm intrigued, but now I'm starting to get a little excited. All right, let's move on to number 4 here. FPS Boost. So it was a newly introduced programming trick by Microsoft that enabled certain Xbox 360 games now and Xbox One games to achieve 60 FPS without any major patching or work on the developer end in the form of next-gen updates. I want to just make a little note here. Do you see how I wrote 30 FPS in the doc?
Yeah, I saw that.
How did I do that and not catch that?
You good.
While it was confirmed that Xbox is closing down their backwards compatibility program due to being at the limits both technically and legally, it was assumed that the FPS Boost program would continue. That assumption was born from Xbox's own words, which said, quote, while we continue to stay focused on preserving and enhancing the art form of games. And then they continued to mention how they were at their limits. So with that in mind, it may come as a bit of surprise that Xbox's FPS Boost program has been paused for the foreseeable future as well. Jason Ronald, director of program management at Xbox, recently guested on a certain podcast featuring a number of the best and brightest lords in the industry. On that show, he had stated that, quote, if we are able to develop new methods to further enhance backwards compatible titles, we will pursue them, end quote, thus suggesting that it is done for now. Jason then took to Twitter to follow up, quote, for those asking for clarification, we knew that our current FPS Boost techniques would only work on select titles. This is similar to resolution enhancements for Xbox One X. We currently have FPS Boost on 130 plus titles, but we have tried many, many more unsuccessfully. Enhancing games from the past is difficult as we don't make any changes to the game's source code itself. If we were able to develop new methods to further enhance backwards compatible titles, we will pursue them, but we don't have anything on the immediate horizon, end quote. So we'll answer Lynn's 27 question in a sec, but Cog, you were the host. Let's hear it, man. What did you gather from that conversation? And I was not aware that this was something that was closing down until Ann Lynn's wrote in and was like, yo, it's shutting down. And I'm surprised. This was a big deal to start the year. And I like that Microsoft's trying new things and just not making them these forced programs that have to go on for years and years. But I thought this would be around for a long while, but it looks like their work is mostly done here. This is surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. That part was surprising only because it's like, you know, it's one of the coolest features that I felt they had going for them. And look, it's one of those things that, you know, our base in the realm, we challenge them. We're like, look, you know, what's going on? Why is it going away? And when you break it down with the answers, it is legit. And the answer is just that, you know, number one, besides the legal stuff, it really comes down to a technical, bro. It really does. It really does. And here's the thing, because, you know, either if you don't, you're not adjusting the source code, you're making these changes, right? But all it takes is one bug. And one bug can literally break your game. And I can say on record now, because he said it, you know what I mean, that they've tried it. Any game that you thought about, they've tried it. You know what I'm saying? And any game, whether it be, and you know, obviously for you, the Jet Sets, you know, we're talking about me with the Rise, Son of Rome, the whole bit. Like any game, he literally said it on R.I.P. We have tried it. Do not think that we haven't. It's just we've been unsuccessful. And that's where it comes down. And the sad reality, I'll give y'all this inside baseball. I don't think he'll be mad if I say this because he's literally made the statement. I was fighting for Rise Son of Rome. I was like, bro,
you were in
what's
there?
going on?
You were about,
I was in the mix.
Man.
I was like, yo, what's up? What I need to do? Who do I need to put pressure on Crytek? Like, what I need to do? You know what I'm saying? And he's just like, look,
that's
you know,
hilarious.
I give you one. He basically was like, look, you know, he didn't say this, but this is to be personal. He's just like, you know, Cog, we definitely tried. And there is one section that it definitely broke the game, you know, it just like towards the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I said, you know what? I understand. You know what I mean? And at that point, I said, I get it now. And I let my emotionality go, but it does suck. It's a great program. And, you know, no one wants to see this thing go. And, you know, you just hope that they come out with new techniques. But the reality is also, last point I'll say is that, you know, for them right now, the vibe I'm getting is the cloud gaming push. And, if you notice, the new thing now is base Xbox Ones, right? You guys, like, they ain't gonna be able to play Starfield. They're not playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, but Cloud Ultimate, Xbox Ultimate with cloud gaming. Now they're pushing the Flight Sim is about to come out for base Xbox Ones to be able to be played. And then if you paid attention to my boy, shout out to Tom Warren from The Verge, they've got this new technology with image short, the one in the browser where you're enhancing the image quality of the stream, and he's showing the before. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So they're going all in on preservation, and we're gonna see the FPS boost, hopefully, in instances with that and stuff like that, with game consoles that wouldn't normally be able to play these games. And I think that's how they're looking at it, not leaving it. But it trust me, I do get everybody's sentiment. It's sad. I tried to fight for y'all. I gave them the tough questions. I tried. I was like, bro, what's going on? And they gave me the real. So I got to respect this. So
yeah, and it's good that they were very transparent with it. I remember seeing that and being like, man, really? Like, you thought like the back compat made sense, but FPS Boost seemed like this new initiative that was going to continue, that would replace back compat.
Yeah.
And especially when they just did 360 games, you'd think like that, okay, what's next on that front? So that's it, man. That's it. And I do find it greatly disappointing. And I'm hoping that maybe through their focus on the cloud, that could kind of come full circle and they can figure something out through that.
He did say that even though they're not making an aggressive push, he said if they find techniques that they could do for specific games, even if it's a one-off, they will do it and implement it and find it. So again, and also I think it comes down to the publisher developers helping them overcome the challenge of a specific bug and tell them with the source code, right? But then there's the politics. If EA with Dead Space got a bug on the original joint, but they know Dead Space Remastered is coming, how much incentive are they going to give Microsoft to do this?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's the politics of the game also. You know what I mean? With how much is the company really? And then the other thing is some of these companies don't even exist no more. They got to gum through hoops in the legal. It's tough, man. It sucks though. Trust me, I feel you, bro. It sucks.
It does. Let's speak with N. Lins, 27. Yo, Dukes. So Jason Ronald seemed to indicate on Twitter that FPS Boost program has also come to an end, which is a damn shame. What game hasn't been boosted that you wish had the FPS treatment? Also, to be rude and slide in a second comment here, I know it's Fable Anniversary and Fable 2 both got boosted, but not Fable 2. Why do we think this is remake? And I think, Cog, you kind of answered that pretty succinctly there with how just some games don't work. And it's unfortunate because now you get inconsistencies like that, like in Dead Space, where it's like, man, what's going on here?
What's going on?
And that's just the unpredictable nature of game development. So it does make sense, but yeah, man. Yeah. This is interesting. What do you have a pick in mind for a game that you wish got that 60 FPS treatment?
Come on, man. This is you already know what the answer to this is.
I actually don't think I do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even gonna bump with you.
I've yelled at every show, every Duke show. I'm like the greatest 900p game.
Okay. I thought you meant there was something else there. I was racking my brain much deeper than that.
Yeah, there's nothing new that I could think of. Off top, I mean, I want everything to be FPS boost. You know what I'm saying? What about you? You know, for you?
Ooh, I would love to see. Let's think here. See, Fable 2 would have been a good pick because I'm playing Fable Anniversary right now for the channel, and I'm just like, I'm loving it. It's like, man, to know I'm gonna go 60 anniversary, 32, 63, 3, like
so weird.
Man, because it's like back compat picks are way easier because I look at something like Death Row, the one that I champion constantly.
Yes.
But I think I'm with you. Like Rise is the one that I think just that needs that new treatment because
it needs it, bro.
It would have like a second coming, if you will. Like,
bro,
like here it is. It looks like a modern game. If it ran like a modern game, I would really appreciate that one. I'm running through my head right now in games I own. Is Sunset Overdrive 60 FPS?
Ooh.
Because that's one that's sitting there that I love. Sunset Overdrive.
I forgot about Sunset.
Like if you enjoy the movement, movement of Spider-Man on PS4, which I think many of us do, like the point A to point B, it started with Sunset. Like no one gives that game its roses, but it started there.
You're right.
It's a Ratchet and Clank with the movement of Spider-Man, and it's post-apocalyptic. Like it speaks to me in every specific way. And it's stuck on Xbox, and I think that's 30 FPS. I want to say.
Yeah, it's 30. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
it's
that
30,
would definitely be my pick too. That's
one.
Yeah,
Sunset should have got that.
Yeah, people are snoozing on it.
Yeah, they sleep, and some of the most unique humor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
it was goofy. I liked it. Yeah,
it's
it was,
promotions
it was
with the I forgot the name of the brand, but like
the name of the brand
show,
yeah,
so weird.
The color, yeah.
All right, let's move on to number 5 here. In a holiday full of people itching to snag new consoles, you'd imagine the readily available Nintendo Switch or much desired PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X would top charts as the best-selling hardware. However, due to chip shortages, this has paved the way for the little man to stand up and get his turn in the spotlight. According to Adobe Digital Economy Index, the Xbox Series S has been easy to find at the likes of GameStop and Best Buy for the attractive price tag of $300. And thanks to that, it was among the top-selling items throughout Black Friday in 2021 across 1 trillion visits to U.S. retail sites. Ooh, little man's punching above his weight. We got Rubinos who wrote in, "Hello, Mayor of Titty City, Matty and Lord Cognificent." All right.
With the names, bro, they be in it.
I don't know what is with me and boobs on this show, but
yeah, they always throw you in the mix.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, what I did, but the Series S dominated the Black Friday, Cyber Monday console sales, and ever since launch has been the more accessible of the 2 Xbox options. The flagship Series X, meanwhile, remains harder to snag than a fart in the wind. And I wonder if Xbox will support this trend by focusing production on the S so long as it pushes Game Pass subs. My concern is how this trend could impact gamers like me who want the more powerful console but can't get lucky with the limited stock releases. Should Xbox have gone the PS5 digital route and made the Series S with the same specs as the X minus the disk drive? Maybe this could be the next release for this gen, like the Series SX. Anyways, boys, until I get my hands on the right Xbox, I'm happy to enjoy the console vicariously through the podcast. Have a nearly avoided a defining deuce. Have a day. All right. Thank you, Rubinos. I like that. What do you think about the Series S? You know, it's there, it's doing well, it's an easy buy-in, it's $300, great price tag. Do you think Xbox should look into this method? I think this will eventually be an option, right? A diskless Series X for maybe $400, something like that.
Possible.
Like a good middle tier option. You got your S, your SX, and then your X. I hate these names, but you know,
I know the names are crazy. Yeah, the names. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I want to give them credit on the 2-prong approach, because initially I remember there was a lot of trepidation. Like, does it make sense? And I think it does. I think it you know, that cheaper alternative at $300. I've been, now that I own an S, I've been testing it. And I'm gonna be real with you, Matt. Like, I don't be seeing much to no drop off on a lot of these games. Now, in the beginning, I remember they were like, "Yo, what's going on? When we ain't getting 60 here?" But a lot of times it'll be like maybe a month later, and then it's a patch. Or, you know, now I'm seeing out the gate, you know, they're getting the 60 or whatever, even the 1440p. But, you know, as we call them in the realm, little man is out here, man. It's an attractive option. And here's the thing: the digital aspect we have to pay attention to. I think this is key for them, because you're giving them an inexpensive option, but you're locking them to digital, which then in turn locks them into Game Pass. So it becomes the de facto Game Pass machine by default, if you really think about it, right? I would love to see the metrics on Game Pass with the S, because the attachment rate got to be out. You can't get no physical discs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you in on what their vision is, which is Game Pass, because you have to. And as the generation goes on, I could see down the road that $200 S. Bro, I could see it later in the gen. Like, this is going to fly. Now, I will say, I'm not getting I know the Black Friday, everybody's got the pump. I get it. Yeah. But we do know there's chip shortages. We do know, you know, it's harder to get the Series X, and it's harder to get the PlayStation 5 right now. And Phil even said, because of the way this S is designed, the supply chains, they automatically, by default, they're going to have more S's available. But still impressive that what was available, people were buying, and that people, put it this way, it just showed me people wanted it. Like, I was like, okay, wow, that for people that say, hey, there's no games here and all this other stuff, they did Black Friday show, people want it. So that to me is something Yeah, and the last point I'll say, because you said should ever go in a digital route with the same, I just think it may be later in the gen. I just maybe thinking later in the gen, maybe you get that, and we'll see what happens there. But what about you, Matty? Do you think that yes, were you impressed by it? Are you thinking later in the gen there's anything's happened with a digital X, or like where are you at with that?
Yeah, I think the digital X is a sure shot here. Just
Okay.
even parts alone, like I think it's a part of their game plan. It just might again got pushed back a little bit because they probably want to just keep that price disparity there. Because I think for the luxury purchase, it makes the X feel really good. Let's be honest, you feel pretty good when you make a big purchase like that. You invest
Yeah.
big, but you feel equally as good when you get the thing that does what the X does for like $200 cheaper.
Yes.
And especially this time of the year, you're seeing Xbox go all in. You're looking at their
Mm-hmm.
roadmap they laid out. Like this was a part of the plan when we talked on our E3 episode. Like, this was a part of the plan for them. Like they wanted to lay out the roadmap for a long period of time for you to look. That's why they were announcing stuff super early. As much as I don't like it, they were announcing stuff super early. So you could look at that $300 price point and go, I can get Fable, Avowed that look pretty cool. I don't got to buy them for $60. You're saying I can sign up for Game Pass, and they're bringing this, and that to Game Pass now. We're going to talk about some new additions very soon. They're bringing all of this to Game Pass. And it's like, okay, well, I can buy this now and get those games later. And Game Pass just becomes that much more alluring. Like it's a cheap buy, and a lot of people don't talk about this. I don't know why. Like it's so important, but Xbox All Access, like paying $20 a month, if you're able to do that, again, it's the same thing as like putting it on your credit card, I guess. But like the program doesn't add interest, so you just pay $20 a month. Incredible. It makes it so easy to buy into your system where you look at even just, Halo looks really good. I can start it by paying $20 this month and I'll have Halo, right? And I'll pay $20 a month and remove my Netflix subscription. Like it's that easy. It's really that easy. I think that's a big factor there. Just that ease of buying is better on Xbox's front. But what I think will be more telling in all fairness here is when these part shortages stop or at least slow down, we can really gauge where these consoles are at. Because right now it's like luck of the draw. It really is.
Yeah.
PlayStation seemingly with the rate they're selling at, which I believe they've sold more PS5s than they did PS4s by this point in the generation. So they've figured something out to produce more. There's just a insanely, understandably so, high demand for the PlayStation 5. If they just followed up a kick-ass generation, they're doing some good stuff now. So I'd be curious to know if, hey, PlayStation could produce all the PS5s they wanted and Xbox could produce all they wanted. What would that look like? What would that look like?
That's the key. Yeah, once the supply chains ease up, I completely agree. I would love to see those metrics, see those numbers. The other point I want to make in reference to the attraction of it too is that we have to understand that there's a lot of people who still are like don't really care about 4K and don't care about OLED, or they're guys that are PC guys who want to get it as a secondary system and you're playing it on a monitor. The S is an attractive option. If you have a 1440p 60 frame per second device, that is an attractive option, and they don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to, those are the things that are really factoring in. And I will give them credit on this. I know that the supply constraints are playing a factor here, but I will give them credit on the S being successful in markets where Xbox were traditionally bad in. That to me is really key, because now you're penetrating markets and you're establishing yourself, and that bodes well for you as the generation goes on. So I think that's pretty cool.
I agree that, because we saw in Japan, like the Series S was doing quite well there. And again, I think part of its ease of buy-in, but also the cloud-based future. It's going to be really interesting to see those numbers in 2-3 years from now, where things lie. Because right now, there's just too much of a degree of uncertainty to like say what's truly happening here. Like Xbox could have just, again, been, as you said gracefully, like just a beneficiary of the production chain here, where they were the only one available. It's Christmas time. People want to spend. Little Jimmy wanted an Xbox Series X. Sorry, Jimmy. It's fucking Series S season, buddy. Like you're getting your digital console. Go download your shit. And so,
Mama said the budget is $300 and this is what you get.
Exactly. And I think like when parents are looking at it, let's be real, like when parents are looking at this for their kids, they're going to be like, so the Series S does the same thing as the X. Like they don't care about 1440, 4K. Like they're going to be like, it does the same thing. Yes.
They dig this?
They're going to put the wallet on the table and be like, and I can get 2 games with this.
And I get 2 games in this Game Pass thing and all access and come on. That's the parents' dream.
Yeah,
like,
man. Oh my God.
Jimmy, you gonna shut up. You gonna get this answer. You gonna like, it's the same thing. That's what the man said it's the same.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. That is my mom. I think of my mom, even like my mom.
Yep, that's my mom's too.
Over this thing, man. When I was a kid. There's no doubt nowadays parents would be.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to number 6 here. Talking a little Halo. Halo progression continues to be a thorn in the side of players, as we have discussed many times on this show. Another chapter has been added to this evolving story with freshly altered daily challenges, allowing players to complete 6 matches a day to level up at least once in their battle pass. Weekly challenges withstanding. The announcement arrives through the Twitter account of John Junshek, 343's community manager. Quote, when we made our initial change to progression, which added daily play one game challenges, updated weekly challenges, and doubled the duration of 2 times XP, we promised that we'd monitor the data and make additional changes if needed. Now it is time to follow up on that. After seeing how XP was earned with those changes, we noticed that players were starting their sessions with slower payouts than we'd like. To address this, we will be increasing the XP payout for the first 6 matches of each day. So your first game will net you 300 XP. Then your second and third game will net you 200 XP apiece. Your fourth, fifth, and sixth game will net you 100 XP. And then your 7th game and onwards will be, as it started, 70 XP per match. John continues to write, we know many of you want even larger changes, and we're committed to doing so, but those will take time. We made this update based on data and player feedback, and we'll monitor its impact after we push it live, which it is live right now. As always, keep sharing your feedback. End quote. Okay, so here we go. Another chapter in this story. How are you feeling about the daily XP challenge changes?
Nice. It's okay. I'm not putting my pom-poms out for this.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Remember what I said on Ultimate, when we had Chris on. I told you guys, this ain't my first rodeo. It's going to come down to the agility and the speed of reaction of this live team and how many people are on this live team and how much they respond. So to their credit, they did something. To their credit, they're giving out more XP. I haven't played since this one. So people are telling me positive things like, yo, I've gone up like 2 levels. I'm doing it. Dope. Okay, cool. We still got to address the crappy progression. We still got to address separating shoulder pads and not a lot of content in the actual pass and the monetization of all the fly stuff only in the store. And we still got ways to go. So I'm ready to give them a pass. I'm sorry, I'm going to be hard on you, Halo. I ain't ready to give you a pass yet. This is nice. This is cute. And the last part, where's the XP for winning the match?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it right away. I'm just like, okay, so you like they said, we've noticed players are starting their sessions with slower payouts than we'd like, which to me directly states you are trying to control the XP payouts on a level that maintains people buying in. And it's what I fucking warned people about with this free-to-play bullshit, man.
You did.
Because they're trying to control how much you earn so that you will end up paying. Right? Like that's the thing is like, yeah, it's cosmetics. Yeah, it's not invasive of your gameplay, but them literally saying, we noticed that players are starting out their sessions with slower payouts than we would like. As in, they're gracefully giving you 1 battle pass level per day, guaranteed with your dailies, no weeklies accounted for. And that's their gift to you. And I sit there and I'm like, is it that hard to say? And by the way, you'll earn 50 XP if you win. Yeah. Is it that? That's the thing, man. I have to bring up the quote from Ackman again. It's what's missing here that it's so fucking annoying with this game at this point. And I'm not letting it take away from fantastic gameplay, 40 plus hours sitting right here. What's up? It's great. But this is so easily remedied at this point.
Yeah, easy.
It really is that they just keep trying to find their way around. They're like that sneaky kid in class that just can't help but make trouble. And you're like, bro, just behave. Just behave. And they're not. It bothers me, man.
So true.
This is fine. This is another solid Band-Aid that I'm okay with. I'm good with it. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of complaints with it. And I'm right there with you because, again, that wordplay is very telling.
Oh, yeah.
But this will do for the time being. It's nice, like you said. But
it's nice.
Like, why are we just avoiding this? Like, hey, 50 XP when you win, 50 XP if you play the objective and you capture at least one. At least one. That's it. You don't got to be star of the team. Just at least one.
You know why? Because they don't got a lot of content.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of
Let's
content in it, and they trying to keep us. Destiny does this sometimes. I see what they do it. They like it's a long season. They don't really have anything to give you. They probably remember they already said they delaying Forge again, all that stuff, co-op again. So they're not ready to have content on deck. And all this is to gate you. It's to time gate you to keep you in here, because if you get the XP that we want, we will blaze through this battle pass. We'll be done with the game, and they don't want that. They want to keep you in here. That's all it is. Trust me, we know the game. We know what's
you
going on.
know better than I, right? Like you've been in that. You've been in that. Like for me,
I know this life.
Yeah.
Like what Destiny does, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I took a break. I took 2 weeks. So I was like, there's nothing here for me. I did everything. I got my Halo. I got my suit. I'm cool. Whenever y'all correct a little bit of this, then I'll be back for more. I'm still playing, but I know when to fall back, because I know when the business room is winning the argument. Yeah. And right now, the business room said, no, we got to keep him in here. We got to recoup this money back. We got to, say we gave them free to play. Yeah. And that's what this is right now, until they get more content, and then it's hopefully get a little bit more fairer as we move on.
It's really disappointing.
I know. To your point, you've always said you say, yo, I'd rather pay the 60.
I really would. I stand by that more than ever now. Just because I look at now, like I stopped playing because my weeklies are done, and this challenge-based progression just fucks with how I'm just wired that way. Like as an RPG fan, like I love the carrot at the end of the stick, like by default. Yeah. So when you remove that inherently. Like with Overwatch, it worked fine because there was no carrot at the end of the stick. You'd get a random loot box whenever. But with this, it's like built into your gameplay systems are challenges. So when I complete them, my sense of satisfaction is there. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. As fun as it is, I love this game, man. Yep. It could be knocking on the door of Game of the Year conversation for me just because gameplay alone, which is insane to talk about. But like, I would love if this wasn't a thing. I really would. It just shows that they tried to reinvent a wheel, and it's showing more than ever that they reinvented that wheel to monetize. And
it's definitely and what's egregious about it, it is the worst implementation of monetization when you have so many better examples, and they themselves have a better one that they made in Master Chief Collection. That's the part that's egregious. You're like, fam, you made something prior that was better than this.
Yes. Oh my God. I think I said that in a recent video too.
You said that.
Dude, you hop on. That's the thing. The people who are defending this system, like I can understand if you're like, it's not as bad as people are saying, because I think some are being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
But if you hop on Master Chief Collection for 5 seconds and go to their battle pass section and look at how many challenge points you can rack up, just playing the campaign, by the way, you don't even got to go into multiplayer. Because guess what? Your boy did a full series run through this year ahead of Infinite. So I come out like 50 points on my chest, like, yo, where do I spend this right now? Like my pockets are full. I'm like, I'm ready to spend. And it's there, man. And I missed it. Let me see what these old battle passes like. Like the formula was there in this paid for product, and it's excellent. So it's so incredibly frustrating to know that they made a beautiful system that's just sitting there. They're like, what Master Chief Collection? What do you mean?
The only thing I'll throw a slight bone, a little one, is that I'm hearing rumors that, the Infinite campaign will give us something in turn with this. Probably not to the level of Master Chief Collection, but I am hearing a little. So whatever. That's the little. More
it's already leaked, and it is not.
Oh, it's leaked?
Yeah, it is leaked. It is not.
It's not even that high. See, I try to be nice, 343. I try to be nice.
I know you have, and that's what a lot of people were thinking. But when people looked it up, and it's there.
The habitual line stepping.
Number 7, Cyberpunk 2077 has been a bumpy road ever since its launch. With a Q1 2022 next-gen update confirmed, it aims to be the first step to CD Projekt Red winning back any sliver of trust from the mostly burnt fans who simply want to play their newest RPG. On this show, we, and by we I mean myself, have suggested the idea that Xbox Game Pass makes... Sorry, I was saying myself because I was like, I never shut the hell up about it.
I love it.
Because if I'm wrong, then I don't want to I don't want to put you in a bad spotlight here because I was a
Nah, we
loud mouth.
give him.
It makes too much sense though for this troubled game to join Xbox Game Pass. Unfortunately, we were not able to will this one into existence, as CD Projekt Red believes there's still money to be made. Quote, "We always consider any business opportunity, but this kind of subscription model is good for a certain moment in the life cycle of a product, so not too early. We have to weigh the benefit and cost each time. So we have to compare it to sales. It's a decision based on data. It's way too early for Cyberpunk," end quote. What the fuck, man? Really? They were projected for like 30 million sales and it dropped to, I think, like 15. Like it's sliced in half. And you're telling me it's way too early?
Bro, that just showed me the whole mindset right there. That statement told me
Let's hear it.
everything I needed to know. He said it's not good at a certain. He said it's not too early. So in my mind, you feel you have more money to be made. B, then that shows me, again, I can only infer, that shows me that you have paid content coming that you want people to buy, that you think is going to really bring life back into the product. And I got so many issues with this. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's like, this is how I look at it. You need a lifeline, bro. Your game is dead out here. It's stinking. It's smelling. It's smelling, bro. I don't know what. I know you may want to recoup and I get it. But bro, and then you said it best when we did a Cyberpunk Ultimate Divine Duo. And you were like, there's just a moment that even when you fix it, you're so out of the zeitgeist. And we just talked about what Sony's about to do. We talked about Starfield. We talked about all these new fire IPs that people are not going to be. They're going to be like, you came out to do what?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to be doing that's so mind blowing that you think people are going to stop to cop the new stuff to go get you, who got the shoddy reputation for what you did? You need to do the mea culpa. You need to say, yo, Game Pass here. So you know what it just showed me? They still think they the hot chick.
Yeah.
They still think, yo, you got to pay for me because you showed your performance was not it. Yeah. So yeah, like, yeah, man. Yeah, this is
really
shocked
well
to read
put.
this.
Yeah, really well put by you there, because it's exactly that. It's a lack of foresight. And there is I'll give them one little potential to prove me wrong here, or really prove me right, I guess. Which is, with it coming out Q1 2022, let's say it drops in February, maybe they want to see if people just pick it up even for $10. So don't announce it too early. I understand if they're going to be strategic about that, but we're talking about a game, like, let's be real. What money are you making? It's sold for $10 over the summer. We're not even talking about a Black Friday deal. It sold for $10. You want to know how much Breath of the Wild still goes for? It was remarkable to go on Best Buy and see it going for fucking $40. And I know Nintendo's Nintendo, but I'm just saying, like, this was a game that had prestige attached to it up until its launch day. And that is a game that could have rode that price tag of like, it's $30 for Black Friday. People go, whoa, really? You know, and hop right into it. And you're telling me that when your games sell, no hyperbole, go look, sold for $10 now, that there's money to be made. What this says to me, as well as that next gen version, is getting repackaged for $70. I'm telling you right now, that shit's happening. And that is disappointing.
I think so. We're going to get super deluxe edition with 70 with an extra DLC content they're hyping up, and that content better be fire.
Yeah,
for all this.
That's the thing. The content, like in game, at least in my opinion, is very fun, very good, very enjoyable. But you got to recognize that, put the ego to your side, man, because that's all I'm seeing here is like, y'all are in a horrible position right now, and the only way that you can get people in a big year for gaming is literally handing it out right now. There will be people who will purchase. I have no doubt about that. Content creation aside, I think I would be getting into this one because I like Cyberpunk a lot. I want to see what's going on with this. Maybe re-review it for 2022, see what it's all about. But
of course,
man, like, they got to get out of their own way here. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Yeah, no, literally what you said. It's just like, you know, to me, you take the L on the game itself, and then you build the excitement, like we talked about with the next gen patch and all that. And then you say, okay, here's the new content coming. And then you could do your little $10 or $15 X. You do it that way. But that you're right. All it did is it showed me they are planning to make you buy this again in some way and repackage it. And now I think that's gonna go worse. Like you're gonna ask for 60 again. We'll see. Look, hardcore, we're in. We love the game. We'll play it. We'll us hardcore. But the masses, which is, bro, you got removed from the PlayStation.
That's the thing. You got to remove that. Like, you got to buddy up with someone right now, man. You're getting beat up. Like, that's just the reality. That's just the reality.
This is out of touch. This is definitely out of touch.
I agree entirely.
We'll see.
All right, number 8. Let's look at Xbox Game Pass and what's coming very soon. Yes, even in the month of Halo Infinite, there's a nice meaty drop here. Some significant additions at that. Let's begin with December 2nd with Anvil coming to console and PC. Day 1 on Game Pass, it said. Archvale is arriving on cloud, console, and PC December 2nd. This is also mentioned as a Day 1 Game Pass. Here we go. Final Fantasy 13 2, console and PC. Lawn Mowing Simulator, cloud, console, and PC. Rubber Bandits, Day 1 Game Pass, cloud, console, and PC. Stardew Valley, cloud, console, and PC. And Warhammer 40K, Battle Sector, cloud, console, and PC. Now we move into December 7th with Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator. This is Day 1 on Game Pass, cloud, console, PC. Again, December 7th. Halo Infinite campaign, Day 1 Game Pass, cloud, console, PC, December 8th. Prepare yourselves. All right, we got One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, cloud, console, and PC, December 9th. This is a nice one to see. I think the most standout ones right here, though.
Oh, yeah.
Aliens Fireteam Elite, a cooperative third-person survival shooter, having you fight against a xenomorph threat, cloud, console, and PC, all 3. December 14th. Among Us.
Huge.
Console Game Pass, December 14th.
Bro, they flexing.
Not bad here. And then leaving December 15th is Beholder, leaving console and cloud. The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan, leaving console and console and PC. Guacamelee 2 is leaving cloud, console, and PC. Wilmot's Warehouse is leaving cloud, console, and PC. Unto the End, cloud, console, and PC. And Ukulele exits cloud, console, and PC.
Shout out to Unto the End. Those are my people. I love those guys.
How are we feeling about these editions? Pretty good month.
Monster, massive. Like, talk about Stardew is a sleeper. Stardew is a sleeper. Halo, we already know. Warhammer, we talked about. Among Us is massive. That's massive, bro. And then Aliens, I was doing some research. I was like, yo, this look actually pretty cool. I was
going to buy it, actually, around this time. My friends and I were looking for a co-op game, and this was on our list. We were like, yeah, let's get this one. And then they put it on Game Pass, and we went, that's it. We're in. We'll wait till then. And so I'll be hopping into that later this year.
Yeah, man. Any ones for you?
I gotta shout out Final Fantasy 13 too. That game, I know that people don't like Final Fantasy 13, understandably so. Very linear experience, Cog. One of the most linear that you can get in the 360 era. Beautiful game, but yes, like puts you down a path. You can never go off the beaten path in that game. 13-2 was a strong response and a legitimately good game with some good experimental ideas that I think doesn't get a lot of love. I like the 13 series collectively. Like, I don't like the first one, but 13-2 and Lightning Returns, I thought were actually really good games. I enjoyed them a lot when I was playing them. 13-2 is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, though. And that is a Carrick era take that has actually faded away because I remember I used to shit on Final Fantasy 12. I hate Final Fantasy 12. And then I mentioned in passing, I love 13-2, and people were like, pop, 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 on the keyboard immediately. So I'm sure that'll return next week. But 13-2 is a game that shouldn't be slept on. Phenomenal soundtrack, really cool time traveling story, definitely inspired by the likes of, I'd say, Chrono Trigger, where you'll go to like the same spot in different time periods to progress quests. So I think there's a level of thought put in there. It's like a Pokemon mechanic where your third party members, like different creatures you're capturing. I think the story is actually pretty good too. So there's a lot to love about this game. I think if you're looking for a good JRPG, certainly there's many to pick from. I've talked about some even on this show, but this is one that if you slept on, I think you just watch a recap of 13 and then hop in blind. Like it's good. It's really good. And it got FPS boost. So
nice. Nice.
Yeah. It's time. It's time. Give 13-2 its respect. Give that a try. I'm sure you'll hear from me with Game Pass Pick of the Week shortly. But for now, we hear from you. Let's move into that and go into your pick, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Tell me why.
Tell me why you picked this.
I know. I missed out. It started out with we're doing Game Awards. And remember how we talk about, even with us just now, we're talking about narrative, best narrative, right? And I'm seeing, Life is Strange. And I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. I was the first 2 or 3, and Beyond the Storm, I did those to completion. I really like those stories. To be honest with you, Matty, I felt when I played Life is Strange, I felt they did the formula better than Telltale. The first one, especially. Was so good, yeah. There was some emotional things with the chick on the roof, and you like
chapter
she's
2,
like,
I think, yeah,
bro. And if you didn't remember her personal, you didn't pay attention to the details of the story and her personal questions, and she felt like you didn't really care about her. And spoiler, like it's a suicidal situation.
Yep.
Bro, and it was power. It was so well done. And I was like, yo, I like them. And the score, it was like a nice little original.
It's one of my friend's favorite games of all time. He replays like
I love Life is Strange is so good to me. It made me put respect on Don't Nod's name. So I've been slacking. Go ahead.
Just know, Don't Nod made Vampire, a game that I suggest quite often on this show. And
I forgot.
If anyone likes what Cog's about to say, just know who worked on Vampire. Sorry, continue.
Bro, no. Thank you for reminding me. I need to get my behind over on that too. So,
so much good stuff.
There's so many good games, bro. Like, Don't Nod knows how to do story beats, and they know how to get emotional stuff right. So I said, you know what? Let me try this. It's been sitting on my hard drive. Let me see what's going on. And I ain't gonna fret. Like, you know what? I knew I liked it when just obviously they're touching very sensitive issues. Shout out to the whole LGBTQ community. Really, they're really going there with a lot of specific issues and basically
nowadays, man.
Tough tackle, right? And it's respected in the LGBTQ community by how they're tackling it. So and also trans issues. So what happens is that the generalization is basically, 2 sisters, 2 siblings. They both sent to a youth. One was sent to a youth correctional thing, and part of it is due to the sexuality thing. And then they reunite after like 10 years. But as the story goes on, which is fire, you start to learn there's a connection, a deeper connection that you see on a magical level. And the way the game does it, I think is very cool. And then you start to find out about your parents, your family, and the whole thing that happened. And one sibling may have gotten things wrong. It's very well done. And it's a charm to it. The thing I really like about their games is I've never been to Alaska, by the way.
Right.
I feel like, yo, this is how Alaska. This is actually really like it's interesting to me. Like it's a very different type of vibe. Right. You know what I'm saying? And they knocked it out the park for me, man. I already got the first chapter done. Getting into this, and I couldn't stop playing. And the last point I say, the reason why I really recommend it is because remember, I think we had a Defining Duke a while back, man, and you had a topic where it was kind of like, or someone wrote in, they were like, yo, what are games that are people who have not gamed? Right.
Yeah, I think we talked about this company as one of them. So it's funny you bring this up.
This is the game, because let's be real. When you get a new gamer and he's trying to do third person control, he kind of struggling, right? He's but what the Don't Nod joints do is like you get close to it, that little Y button to pop up to make it simple. Okay, go there, open the door, do this. It's very the ease of entry. And then they feel that they're really participating in the storyline. I think Don't Nod does a good job with that. And I ain't gonna front up, I'm Team Walking Simulator. I love all that stuff.
I wish I've fallen out of love with them. So it's okay. Like when I hear you speak about it, I remember what I felt with Life is Strange. And the reason I know I've fallen out of love with them is like I hear people say like That's Stranding, you gotta try it, just try it, like you'll see. And that one looks considerably more risky. But I feel like that would have been a game typically I would say, all right, let me try it. But like I've just kind of walled them off.
Well, Stranding, I don't consider the typical one. I'm talking about like
story-based Telltale.
The one that's like one that you really ain't gonna have to deal with a lot of action mechanics. Let's be honest. Like, it's not gonna be a combat system in Life is Strange and tell me why. Like so for those games, I get it. And then like, damn, I lost my thought. I was gonna say, the one that I have to check, even though we define and do, I gotta get. I like what you call it, Detroit Became Human.
That's one I slept on. I gotta check that one out. That's one
I like the Android thing, and I like the way those paths break down and the divergent choices and depending on how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just one of those type of things I've always had affinity. And let's be real, some nice, easy achievements as an incentive.
Microsoft Rewards points.
Easy achievements, y'all. Just doing certain things. So, hey, if you got time to kill, just pick it up, check it out.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm. We also got a write-in from Frog with a Game Pass pick of the week. Greetings, Dukes. I'm writing about a Game Pass pick of the week that my fellow weebs may enjoy. Matty has often touted the idea of supporting Japanese games on Xbox in order to show the various companies that there is a market for those games. With that in mind, I decided to try out The Somnium Files on Game Pass, and it ended up being one of my favorite games I've played this year. Being written by the author of Zero Escape franchise, Kotaro Uchikashi, it tells an incredibly interesting and mind-bending murder mystery with a great cast, and it takes advantage of the fact that it is a video game to do some incredibly unique things that I will not spoil. For that reason, it is my Game Pass pick of the week, and the upcoming 2022 sequel, Nirvana Initiative, is now on my list of games I'm looking forward to most. Ooh. Since it is launching on Xbox alongside the other platforms, I plan to pick it up there as well. Thanks as always, and have a Atlas releases the Persona games on everything but Xbox kind of day. He also writes, P.S. Matty, what do you think about Enigma Archive's Rain Codes reveal? As a fellow Danganronpa fan, I am hoping it scratches that itch once again. I'm going to punch that into the browser real quick here because I think it's the game I'm thinking of, but I don't recall. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to shout this one out because I will say that this was one that I when it got added to Game Pass, like the following week, I was like, Game Pass pick of the week right here.
Yes.
Check it out. Yes. Wow, wait, this is... Enigma Archive's Rain Code is a dark mystery from the minds behind Danganronpa.
Oh, it's over for you. It's over. It's over for you. It's over.
Is this an anime? Yeah, I think it might be. Okay. I'll have to look into this a little bit more, but this is already a little bit up my alley here.
Yeah,
damn sure.
I could already see right now. Yeah,
just,
looking at it. Yeah,
dead bodies. Yeah. There's the students in absolute disarray here. This is great. This is great. This is what I'm looking for. I love nothing puts me more on edge in a game than knowing a character can die. And like that's what these games do really, really well. Oh, this looks great. Mm-hmm. Oh, this looks great, man. Oh man, I'm so about this.
Scenario by your man.
It's a game. Okay. It's a game. Okay. It's a game. Because I knew the Danganronpa creator was working on something else in anime. So fuck.
Yeah, the art style is fire. I come front. Yeah,
I gotta do my research after this, so I'll stop for now.
I knew this was on.
Shout out Frog for that one. Gonna do some deep digging on that.
Salute, Frog.
All right, we got our 5 final questions for the end of the show here to wrap things up. Jeremy asks is our first one. Hello, Sacred Dukers. I have a question about Xbox's experience on PC, aka Windows. I haven't had a gaming rig out in my living room for about a year now, and I gotta say, the experience really sucks. Having to manage multiple programs to get capture, record, or even basic control functionality to work properly, dealing with libraries spreading across multiple launchers, etc., is enough to make your head spin. Programs like Steam Big Picture makes things a little bit easier, but it's still not ideal on all. My question is, with Microsoft's big push with PC being a part of their Xbox ecosystem, do you foresee Microsoft developing a console-like experience for Windows that mirrors the Xbox? I, for one, would love this integration, and being able to effectively use my PC like a console and have my controller work natively instead of having to figure out workarounds. Thanks, and have a blue screen of death kind of day.
Yo, Jeremy, what's going on? I feel you, man. I mean, that was my frustration when I went to PC. What is it? A lot during the Xbox One generation. I was on PC predominantly, especially with Destiny and stuff. I will give you 2 suggestions. One, you can USB that bad boy to your controller. I use one of my Elite controllers and I USB it directly in to my PC so I can get that popping. You know what I'm saying? But what I would highly recommend is Windows Game Bar. Windows Game Bar mimics the Xbox experience pretty good. So what you do is Windows button plus G, and that'll bring up the overlay over any game on PC. Right. And then you'll have your Xbox party chat, your Xbox friends list. You'll be able to configure things. It's really, really intuitive. I like Game Bar a lot. I think that's one of their better innovations to kind of integrate stuff. But yeah, like I said, I mean, look, it's always going to be, different launches, different games, things like that. But I've been telling a lot of my PC guys who are now playing a lot of cross-platform stuff with me to use it, and we're in party chats now, and it's been pretty good. It's been pretty seamless. I know Discord is still going to be the number one de facto for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know that. You know what I'm saying? But I've been using, I would say, Game Bar, and they constantly iterate it. So that's what I see. And the last point I say is when we had Jason on ILP, they are not stopping. Like, from the vibe I got, like, this is a big thing, because I was very hard on them. Like, you guys have to improve the PC experience if you are to be taken seriously, especially with PC Game Pass and making this ecosystem together. So I think try Game Boy. If you didn't know about it, you probably do. But if you didn't, yeah, please try that. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think with them, when they say like, hey, PC is our one of our platforms, a part of our ecosystem, I really think it just boils down to game availability for them. Like, I don't think the functionality of it clearly matters to them, because there was a game. This was a story I heard. I'm trying to remember where it was recently. There was a game that there was a bug where people were installing a game via Game Pass, and it was installing like the older version of the game. It was something along those lines. So there's something just weird with the architecture and infrastructure rather here that needs to be worked on heavily, because PC already, in the terms of getting deals done, has been an afterthought. So it's already hurting on a consumer front, and then the ease of access and the interaction, it's let's be honest, it's riding in the back seat right now.
Yeah,
and
clearly.
when their first party games roll around, they're like, look, see what we mean, right? Like, it's like the boyfriend who comes around with the flowers, the chocolates. He's like, look, I care, I love you, and then like he doesn't show up for another couple months or something like that. That's kind of what you're getting here with Xbox. That's how they're treating their PC platform. The Halo Infinite flowers, like, Forza C, we care, we're day one, and then like see in March with whatever our next drop is, right? So I think it's about games for them, and I think they've done a solid job with that. Not the best, but then I think when it comes to infrastructure, they could definitely be doing better. So we'll see how they prioritize that.
And the vibe I hear internally is Windows 11 is going to get a lot of the PC improvements that we are really wanting to take forth. So once that adoption rate happens, from my understanding, on the back end, it's going to solve a lot of the issues with UWP and stuff that Windows 10 was having with their ports.
Okay. Let's move on to Vonoran. Hey, Dukes. This one's for you, Cog, entirely. Although I do have some thoughts, but not as in depth. How do you feel about Destiny's content vault? I'm a solo Destiny player, and it constantly takes away content never to return. I understand this is a live service game, but after a year with this DCV, it's taken more than it's given, in my opinion. Just makes me wish we had a Destiny 3, because I have a strong doubt that Bungie is ever going to return content when they need to make room for the next expansion. This is, I know, a controversial one, so take it away, set it up.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Hogue Law. We had him on the last word for this very show about this topic on Destiny, man. Look, controversy is, I'm not gonna make no excuses. Them getting rid of content, that's not our problem. As Hogue said, that's not our problem, Mushy. You can't find space and whatever. Look, I get it. It's a live service game. Yes, I get it. Things evolve. For the one right now that's very egregious, it's Forsaken, in the sense that as of right now, they're telling people it's going to go away, right? But if you go to the store, Forsaken's available for purchase. So that's grimy. That's just, you know this is going to go away. You're still trying to catch a couple of suckers on the way before this goes out. And the last thing is, I've always been on Team Destiny 3. I think this is a situation where them being on their own, free of Activision and their bandwidth, I know they're hiring, I know they're making another IP, aka Matter, whether it's a Diablo style or Overwatch, whatever the thing's going to be. The resources are split. But again, it's not our problem.
Right.
We're paying for this game. So it doesn't feel good when content is pushed away. And on top of that, it narratively doesn't feel good, because now there's stories that just cannot be told again. And you have no suppository to go and say, hey, what happened in the Red War campaign? What happened in this? And the first, you know what I'm saying? There's no resource. There's no library to go to, right? So you are just now, to me, not respecting that aspect of it. I want Destiny 3. I feel at some point the actual engine, is going to get outdated as generation goes on. Like I want to see, and there's still things they need. They need dedicated. I feel like they need dedicated servers. They need certain things. The PvP that Halo's doing well as far as skill-based matchmaking. You know what I'm saying? As far as a ranking system in PvP. That's what Halo does well. Mm-hmm. Destiny doesn't have that, and I think again this will solve a lot of the problems. And here's the last thing: at some point, you got to cut off, the Xbox One and the PS4. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. At some point, game design is held back because you're still holding on to these. At some point, the adoption rate of the Series X and the PS5 is going to be high enough, and you're doing crossplay with PC and Steam. Like, it's going to be high enough. So that's what I feel you should do. So, long story short, I agree with you, Vonerin. I don't like it, and I hope that eventually, this is why I hope they get bought, to be honest, because I don't think that they're proving to me they cannot maintain it from a technical standpoint if we have to stay with Destiny 2 this long, So
yeah, I just never understood the idea of making room for other content. I mean, as much as I hate it, I look at Warzone as like, hey, our Call of Duty in general, just hundreds of gigabytes of content. Like, they're not making room. Mm-hmm. So what are they talking about? Is it this? I think it preys on FOMO intentionally. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of it. And like I said, I completely understand people who say, "Yo, I'm not supporting that. I'm good." I totally understand that.
Thank you for clarifying that, though. That's very insightful, and I'm going to be curious to see how, with that in tow, how people feel about like something like Witch Queen. Like, is that something that could get vaulted?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, Witch Queen comes out, let's say February 2022. I could see a situation in 2023 where you get the, hey, Witch Queen will no longer be available at the world, because they're trying to sell you on this. It's an evolving world. It's changing.
Behind us, yeah.
Exactly. Look, they need to be. Honestly, if there was any way Microsoft could buy them, I would love it, because they need they still need the resources. There's still parts of the Activision thing that we are seeing that, and also we're seeing that they just as greedy when they buy themselves. Not everything was Activision too. You know what I'm saying? Their transmog system was horribly implemented, like one of the worst. So we're like, bro, like, come on, everybody else is doing it for free, and you out here making us go through hoops for this. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I advise you. I got to plug a little bit. Last Word Podcast. Check that out. Usually we do that Thursdays. Me and my boy Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis from IGN, and one thing about people love us. Like, we don't play with Bungie. Like, we're fair, but when they do dumb-ish, we go in. So this is one of those ones. That and something.
All right, let's move on to VRG. Over many episodes, we got to know what Xbox and Sony games both Matty and Cog have had a particular affinity for. For example, Matty loves Sly Cooper and Cog loves Ghost of Tsushima. Obviously, you have extensively covered your favorite Xbox games. How about we finally give Nintendo some love? What are your top Nintendo games or franchises? Does Matty's fandom for RPGs bleed over Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door or Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga? Does Cog have any standout Nintendo titles from his youth despite being a Sega kid? I want to start off with you for that exact reason, right? Like, because you always say I was a Sega kid, right? So do you have any Nintendo throwbacks?
Yeah, I was very jealous. Had that vast system. I used to see my friends, that NES, that gray NES, and those fire titles. I was jealous, man. Like, for me, I mean, Zelda, of course. Zelda was always Legend of Zelda, that music, the iconic music, the franchise. I was a huge Mike Tyson Punch-Out fan. I love that aspect of it. Even their pro wrestling game, the original one. I remember that. Yeah. Like, the old NES, I loved a lot. Super NES was big for me. That was probably the first one I owned, Nintendo system I owned, because I think I ended up getting an NES later, but I didn't own it when it came out. Franchises there, I remember ActRaiser. I remember RPGs. RPGs were big, like the Final Fantasies, the Chrono, those. I'll say the last one, and it's going to sound, there's two franchises I know are going to sound crazy because most Nintendo fans don't go crazy for these two. But one is Metroid. Like, I always liked Metroid. I felt like Metroid doesn't get enough of what it be. Yeah. I'm shocked to see it's now, like now, right? Yeah, but I'm like, I liked Metroid. I like Super Metroid. I like the Metroid 64. I liked all the Metroids. Absolutely. So I mean, I was a fan of Samus the character, and this is one that doesn't get a lot of love, but the only reason why I love it so much is when I remember getting the Super Nintendo, I always tell this story, is I had Genesis and I'm Sega kid, I'm Genesis, bro. Genesis does, bro. So I'm in my fanboy bag, young cog, And then I remember getting my Super Nintendo and I remember having, Super Mario World. Colin had one of his favorite games of all time, right? And then it's going to sound messed up. Yo, F-Zero.
Really? Wow.
Bro, F-Zero blew my mind because at the time it was 3D scaling and Genesis wasn't doing that. It didn't have that fidelity. And Mode 7 with the scaling and games like Star Fox and, you're seeing 3D. Like that, to me, showed me when Nintendo has power, oh, Lord. Because he got all the original ideas, all the original great game makers. If you give Nintendo power, it's over. It's going to be hard to compete with them. But those are the ones for me, What about you? I'm just curious about.
Yeah, mine are definitely weird because I was not really much of a Nintendo kid growing up outside of the Game Boy Advance. That's my favorite system probably of all time. And yeah, when I look at what they've done, like I think of not Mario, I think of Mega Man Battle Network. Like that's my favorite Game Boy game of all time. I love Battle Network as a series. It's just a RPG with a really unique combat system that I think One Step from Eden did. So I'm gonna play that for sure. It's on Game Pass, but like it's just so unique to me. And I think games like that, like that's not really a Nintendo game, if you will, but those are the Nintendo experiences I had. I think of Naruto Clash of Ninja. The Clash of Ninja series was exclusive to the GameCube and the Wii. And I liked how those played compared to the Ultimate Ninja games, not Ultimate Ninja Storm, but Ultimate Ninja games on PS2. Like I liked Clash of Ninja, the sound effects, the art style, just the music. It all spoke to me a lot more as a kid. So those are like my defining Nintendo experiences, more classic ones like Turtles in Time. I don't know if you can see it out the door. You can't. I have the arcade cabinet. I have the full.
Oh, you got the.
I have the full arcade cabinet. Yeah, absolutely,
absolutely,
dude. One of my favorite games of all time. I know they got Hyperstone Heist, which isn't bad, but Turtles in Time is going to my friend's house like every day and playing it through, man. Like it is just incredible. I love that game so much. So those are my Nintendo milestones. There's not the pretty ones. I like Golden Sun. That is a Nintendo game that's from Camelot. They work on the sports games for Mario now, like they just did Mario Golf. So that's probably the most traditional Nintendo one I can think of. But yeah, when it came to their mainstay series, like that really wasn't my calling. And like I didn't like Mario as much. I still don't think I like Mario as much. I think Zelda was the one that clicked the most. And even then I wasn't crazy about it. I don't know. I was a weird kid.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's funny. We share that in a way. I thought you would be more of a Nintendo kid than me, but we're kind of in the same pocket. We have little ones that are in pockets for us that we love, but not most of the major stuff that most Nintendo fans
love. Seth Bain's our next write-in here. What makes a multiplayer map memorable and engaging? Does it differ from game to game? And what do you specifically look for when assessing the quality of a multiplayer map? Thanks and have a Shrek 2 quality of day. It's a damn good day.
Yeah, damn good day. That's an interesting question. I just look at like points of engagement. I'm actually weird with maps. One thing is the first thing off the back, I gotta like the aesthetic. Like when I'm playing Halo and you see in the one that's kind of indoor and they have the vending machine. It's like a like a storefront kind of thing. Sure. Like I like also multi-level different ways to access the same thing, kind of points of engagement that kind of funnel into that. I don't like too spacious where it's like everyone's kind of camping out and stuff like that. I'm more of a intermediate to short range combat kind of person, so I like maps that play that way. But I know because because I'm not a sniper.
Right,
what I'm saying? That's what it is. So I'm a terrible sniper. So that's just my own biasness. So I'm like, I don't like the long maps because that's caters to that. But I'm pretty not biased there. Just for it got to feel good, look good. I know it's weird to say, but I don't really have nothing more to add than just that.
For me, it's really lines of sight. And when you bring up the map, if I see like 3 lanes, I know it's like bare bones, basic. Like Halo Infinite has a map like that where it's just 3 clear lanes, and it's not a good map. Yeah. Like it's about the to me, it's about lines of sight, and like that takes a lot of testing to like find out like if you're here and you can see this. Like I think of Aquarius as it's not my favorite map, but it's a good map in design because you can come right out of your spawn and see across the enemy spawn. You can see the whole map, but it's not like overpowered because there's objects in the way and there's long distance gunfights that are just very hard to win. So it's not broken. It's good for vision. To me, that's what's most important about map design is that and the reactivity to the action. So if the action's happening across the map, there has to be pockets that are places for me to spawn that aren't going to put me like unfairly killing enemies, which Halo Infinite struggles with. I have had a lot of unfair spawns where someone grabs my flag, like I got outgunned, I spawn, he's grabbing the flag, he's hustling, and I'm just there appearing full health, like, okay, he's dead. Like, it feels cheap. So to me, spawns are huge. Like if I'm getting fair spawns, like, hey, I'm in the action, but I'm not spawning in the middle of it. That's really important for me.
I agree. Good point.
All right. Last question of the show goes to Monster Pontes. Hey, Duke boys, 'tis the season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. After listening to last week's episode and knowing how much Matty loves Christmas, it got me thinking, what are your Christmas games, boys? That game you go to every holiday, and it just brings back the memories. For me, it was Gears of War's franchise. A kind of weird one, but if you guys remember Gears of War and Gears 2, both launched for the 360 back in November days, mid-month usually, so I'd go hard playing the campaigns and then right into multiplayer leading into the new year. Very fun memories for me. Anywho, that's my question. Hope you guys have a good start to the holiday season and it doesn't end up like Gears of War multiplayer match getting chainsaw for the loss type of day.
Ooh, good one. Holidays. I think Gears for him, it's Halo for me. It's Halo for me because Halo, when it did come out, it's always November. It's always around my birthday time. It's always that holiday game. You continue the fun with the homies. People come through. Like, and it's right on point. December 8th, right? We're getting it. Yeah. It's right on time. And it's something to be said, again, with all the little gripes that we have, we always say that gameplay is king.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now that campaign's coming. We're going to dive deeper into that. So yeah, that's for me. And other little games, I remember like Dead Rising had the mall and the Christmas stuff in the mall.
Forgot about that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a little Christmas theme level. I think Batman had was it Arkham was a whole Christmas vibe.
Yeah,
Arkham
time. City or Arkham Origins.
Yes.
Arkham Origins.
Origins, yes. So those are the ones I can remember. But overall, the game that's like comfort food for me during the holidays was always Halo, because that's everybody's around at home and it's like, yo, let's get a bunch of people together, get the party in, 12 in, big team, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's for you. What about you?
I'm
Mr. Christmas.
I'm weird during the holidays in the sense that I have like traditions such as I like to play random games during the holidays and just whatever syncs with me, and then I remember it for that holiday. So I think if Fable 2 is like a holiday game. And it's funny is it might happen again because I'm probably going to finish Fable Anniversary within this week and then move into Fable 2 for the holidays. So it's funny how that'll happen. But, for me, like one, thing I do every holiday season is on Christmas Eve night, I like to play my Vita in bed, turn on the Christmas lights, put on a little music, flip on whatever game, and I play my Vita, man. Like it's been a tradition since 2014. Every year, I just love to do it. I don't know what started it. Just I think one year, like I thought, like, hey, I think it's. I'll be honest. This is gonna sound a little whack to the audience, and I get it.
Let's go.
I'm gonna be very transparent with them. I think it's because it's like I know my years are kind of waning, where it's my last chance to sort of be a kid. And so my parents will I'll go to bed and they'll just bring the gifts out, right, for Christmas Day. I don't like to hear it. I like to keep that season alive a little bit internally. So I'll throw on, I used to throw on Christmas music and just chill in bed, but then I turned it into like a gaming thing. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is like, I'm a kid again, for a little bit. And it brings me back. So a little cheesy. I know I'm 26, but it's just a cool thing that I do every year that I really hold closely to me.
No, I respect it, man. Keep it alive. Like I said, appreciate it. Me being the older jet, I can respect it, and why not? Like I'm saying, at the end of the day, that's what brings you joy. You're having a good time. Go for it.
Thank you, dude. And we'll see what the audience thinks of all that. But this has been a great episode of Defining Duke. Certainly we'll have Halo Infinite to talk next week. We'll have the Game Awards reveals and, of course, the picks. We'll talk about those as well. So that'll be fun to look over. But Cog, it's been an excellent episode. You got a hashtag for me?
Yeah. I do not. I'm bad. I got to get better at it.
Deathloop DD.
I get so into
it. What you got? DD. Like, yeah. I feel
Oh,
like that's
let's
I
do
feel like
it.
that's gotta
Let's
be
do
it,
it.
man.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got to the end of this 3-hour episode. Hashtag DeathloopDD at G27 status at Lord Cognito on Twitter. If you don't got Twitter, Twitter sucks. We get it. Comments down below is another great place for it, or even the patron comments. We're just looking to see who completed the episode. Cog, any final thoughts, or shall we wrap this one up?
Phenomenal episode. The Dukes are in the building. Put your Dukes up. Holiday season coming. It's a fun time, man. And another fantastic show with Mr. Matty plays.
Absolutely.
The Dukes in the building, man. It was great.
Absolutely. And so we hope you all enjoyed. Let's go Mets. And we'll talk to you all next week with episode 49 of Defining Duke. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.